Hey there, nerds, and welcome back. This is Alpha Nerds 18. You're joined here by your so esteemed hosts. I'm joined here by Seth, the Dragon King Slykehouse. How we doing, buddy?
I am doing phenomenal, buddy. How are you?
I am doing outstanding. As we established, I woke up from a well-needed nap, and I feel energized. I'm ready to go. I got some laundry to do tonight. The Islanders are
There you
playing
go.
late. Probably gonna go get Wawa after this, and it's
There
gonna be
you
a great.
go.
It's gonna be a great night. How we doing over there, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing phenomenal. So I have been up now for about 28 hours. Um, Switching my schedule because it's my 2 days off. So I had today off, I have tomorrow off. So that's a little rough when we switch schedules, but I sleep better at night. So I'm a little delirious, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. Um, I got back the other day from hanging out with you down in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Really ignited the fire back in me
Oh
of
yeah.
game hunting. It did. I've been riding that high for the last couple days. As you can see over here, I got my
I
I
see a
got my
shelf.
collection. I
Yeah.
got my collection set up. So
Outstanding.
I went to Dad's house and um I got my gaming collection, and for the first time in about a decade, my game collection is all in one place. So that's what I did today.
I am so proud of you. I'm so proud
Thank you,
to hear
buddy.
this. So what we're gonna have to do is, whenever I get my collection pieced back together, we'll have to do collection videos like back in the 2011 YouTube, and which listen, it could be retro, right?
Yeah,
Like
no, I
retro
agree.
videos, but we can do that and just see where our collections are at because I don't think we've really kind of established what's in each like we have an idea, but we don't know what's fully there, and I think that's
Dude,
really
I was going through my stuff. I had no idea some of the stuff I had. I
fun.
was like, wow, this is insane. I have two collector's editions of Final Fantasy 13 too. I had no idea I had
Why
them.
do
I
you
don't
have
even
that?
know. I don't know. I have one on PS3 and I have one on Xbox 360. I know I got one on Xbox 360 from a friend. I bought it
Mhm.
from him. I don't know how I got the PS3 one. And I have all kinds of collector's edition. I forgot I had the Bravely Default collector's
You
edition.
son of a
I
bitch.
forgot. Yeah, I forgot I had the Lightning Returns collector's edition. I forgot I had the Tales of Xillia 2 and the Tales of Symphonia collector's editions. I'm like, I couldn't believe I had these games. I was like, wow, I forgot all about them.
I remember when we were out. I told you that like, dude, you always had like random ass collector's editions because
Yeah.
like you gave me the Final Fantasy Type Zero collector's edition
Yeah.
and the Shin
Yep.
Megami Tensei 4 collector's. And I'm like, why do you have these? Like, these are games you don't even like.
um yeah, so I also have the Dream Drop Distance collector's edition down there.
Oh, you bastard! That's a good one.
I have the Resident Evil 5 collector's edition down there.
Nice.
Um, the Mass Effect 3 collector's edition,
Oh my god.
and the Breath of the Wild Explorers edition.
You
It's
hate
pretty cool.
Breath of the. What is wrong with
Yeah,
you?
I know. I know. I don't know. I don't know how I get these things.
Yeah, like that was when they were fucking shitting out collector's editions, and I think it's very
Yeah.
beautiful and telling. I see that Tales of Xillia 2, the best Tales of Xillia game,
Oh,
displayed
well,
beautifully.
see, what's really cool about that is now this is fun because I never get to talk about gaming collection. I haven't even seen this stuff for about 10 years. This plush right here, this
Uh huh.
was only available at PAX East the year they were talking
Oh, the
about
first
Tales of
time you
Xillia
went?
from from the Bandai booth. They gave the I think his name's Timo from Tales of Xillia. I can't
Yeah.
remember. He's the puppet. The no
I thought it's Team.
Maggie Lou.
Oh, I don't.
I
I
forget.
don't. I
I
try
don't
not to
remember.
remember that game, but
Um, but they gave that away at the panel. So I don't know how you would get that without going to that panel. But maybe they sold it or something. Um, but yeah, pretty cool stuff, man.
yeah, no,
Pretty
that's
cool
good
stuff.
shit. That's good shit.
Oh, and I forgot I have a super rare version of Crisis Core. I have a version of Crisis Core that was extremely limited edition. It's got a silver cover. You never see it anywhere.
Oh, really?
It
I didn't.
might
I
be the
didn't know.
rarest thing in my collection. Yeah.
Wow, look at you. See? So now that you're feeling yourself get the itch, how are you like do you have a plan? Like do you have an idea what you're collecting? Because I know in the show notes here we're going to talk about getting into another version of collecting, but the gaming specific stuff, like what are you looking to do? Because
I
there's got to have a plan.
you know what, man? This has always been the case for me. I haven't so much ever had a plan as I really do just enjoy, and I feel like knowing you, it's the same for you as well. I just enjoy going to the game shops that I haven't been before,
Yeah.
seeing a new game store, um, and if I see something interesting, just picking it up. Like I was hell bent. I was gonna pay what they were asking for that Final Fantasy 13 collector's edition they had at the game store the other day. But they weren't selling it, you know.
I can respect that. I can respect the store that, yeah, it's not for sale, my guy.
I'm like, God, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I respect it too, but I really wish they would have just been like, oh, 150 bucks. I'm like, here you go. I would have paid it,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Are you going to recount the story of the stores we went to, or do you
Oh
want
no,
me to do
I'll
it?
allow you. I think I'm excited to hear your version of this.
No, dude. So like, I got a hold of you the other day, and I was like, well, me and Pedro haven't hung out in a while, and I wanted to come hang out with you in your neck of the woods. Well, not really. It's like an hour away from Philly, right?
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't too far from me.
I thought it was closer, but so I drove down there and I told you, because you're always going to these crazy cool video game stores. You just somehow get the down low on these stores. Um, so I was like, yeah, pick a store and I'll go. And it's funny because as I'm driving, you're like, hey, there's three of them. Which one do you want to go to? I'm like, I don't know anything about these. I'm like, just pick one, man. Send me an address. I'm on my way. So you did, and this press play store, m- most impressive video game store I've ever seen ever. I mean, I've been to video game stores in like a block away from Times Square, that
Mhm.
were absolute shitholes compared to this place. I mean, this was a really impressive establishment that these guys had. And they are starting a chain, I believe. They have three stores there in Lancaster. Not sure why. They're all within a 10-mile
Yeah,
radius.
they're all super close.
You would think you would want to just like rent a bigger space and have. I mean, there's no way that would be more expensive. But either way, um, they have everything you could possibly imagine there, except apparently PSP games. The one store had PSP games, but just a phenomenal. And I wish I had gotten video of it. Maybe next time we go down, I'll get a video so I can make a video on it. But they had this museum of the craziest rare video game items you can imagine
And those at
at the
every
top. I
store
mean,
too.
yeah, at every store, like boxed consoles from the 70s and 80s, and Wonder Swans. I pointed out to you, they had a Wonder Swan Final Fantasy, and
Yeah.
just like the coolest stuff you could imagine. And I mean, and they had everything from video games to action figures to I don't know, everything. They had some music there, video game soundtracks, and the thing was that I really respected about them is the store was packed full. Like I don't think you could have fit 10% more items in that store,
No.
but it was organized to the point where it wasn't a complete mess
Right.
like you see in a lot of video game stores. Like a lot of video game stores, in my opinion, look a lot more like thrift stores. I would say
Yeah, I
because
agree
people
there.
don't know how to display items. These guys were masters at making displays with their product and allowing you to like just look at something and find it. Really impressive establishment. They had three stores. They all were really impressive, and they had stuff that you don't see a lot of places, like really rare PS1 stuff. And I was really impressed with Just Press Play. Is it Just Press Play? Or is it
Yeah,
just
it's called Just
Press
Press
Play?
Play. Yep.
Yeah, I was really impressed with them. Shout out to those guys in Lancaster because I think they're gonna, if they keep it up, dude, they're gonna be the number one video game chain and I mean ever. Like
Yeah, no,
I can really see that chain going far.
yeah, they've been around for a while. I first discovered them. It was maybe 20, probably 2015. I was sitting around on the couch one day and I just like Googled retro video game stores. Literally how I did it. And there's this place in Lancaster called Just Press Play. And then I actually messaged another collector who I knew went down there. His name is he goes by Shaner64 on YouTube. Shout out to our boy there. And he was telling me about it. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna hit this up. So I go down and he's like, "Oh, you got it. By the way, there's three of them within like you said within a 10 mile radius. So it's just tradition to hit all three." I'm like, "All right, we're in for a day, boys." So I went to all three locations, and then bought. I saw so much rare stuff that like I was like, "Whoa." So I was blown away by like just what they had, and like I always thought everything was like appropriately priced. Like I'm one of those people, like I understand, and you're the same way too. Like I understand that like these stores have to make money. Like they're not here to be our friends. Like they're cool, they have cool stuff, but they're not here for charity. So like I never, when I see stuff priced at like VGC pricing, like that's kind of the point. And like a lot of collectors get really upset when you go to stores and they don't have Panzer Dragoon Saga for $20. I don't like they have it priced for what it goes for. I'm like, well, what do you expect them to do? Like they're not just gonna like they're not just gonna take an L. Like you pay the retro store to have that product for you, so you don't have to go into fucking 9,000 storage units finding it. That's kind of the point.
Right. Right.
So I like stores like that. That they have a bunch of cool stuff, and you can really me, what I do is I really fill my collection at like retro stores. So like I buy the high dollar items unless it's like something that like I don't want to get off of eBay. I see it right in front of me, the price is right, the quality's right, then you pull the trigger. But I usually I usually live in like the $15 to $9 game range, and I'll just hammer it. So like some of the stuff I've been collecting has been Xbox 360. I've been hammering PS3, DS, Nintendo or 3DS, and then PS4 because we had ourselves a little situation, if you remember, at the end of our little run there.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. I still
so
feel bad about this, by the way. I absolutely just like straight up cucked you at a Tales of
it's,
Zero.
you didn't. It's all good. We both got a copy of the game. Eventually, I was gonna open it. And so I'm looking at the game wall. I'm like, man, I wonder if they have Trails to Zero because like what I didn't know. Like I didn't know I knew Trails to Azure was coming out, but I had already missed my window to pre-order it. And I
Mm.
was like, man, this is like a late, like, so things to pay attention to, collectors out there. Late release, late generation RPGs are the fucking bane of your existence because what they'll do is they'll come out at the end of a generation, like right at the end, and there'll be a low print run. So they're going to get, eventually they will go rare. I don't know when, but eventually the prices are going to shoot fucking through the moon for them because this happens every single generation. And so I'm like, fuck, we're big Trails fans here. So I'm like, eventually I'm going to get the games. I'm like, I don't want them on Switch. I want them all on PS4. So I go and ask, he's like, what? The guy looked at me confused. He's like, who? I'm like, probably under the Legend of Heroes. And they found two. And I was like, hell yeah. And then I go, then thinking that this game had already come out, Trails to Azure, I go, do you have copies of Trails to Azure here? And he says, no. I'm like, fuck. He's like, we have one at the other store. And it was like one of the ones we had just been at. So I
Mm-hmm.
tell him, yeah, we'll take those two. And little did we know there was like this big holdup because they couldn't find them. Like we were 2 days early. We almost got them to sell it to us 2 days early. Not on purpose.
I know, dude.
Not like we were being dicks. But yeah, we almost made off like bandits because we were en route.
I know. We were so close to we were just about to get them, and now it's really not that big of a deal because I've been seeing on the Falcom subreddit that people were getting these games delivered to them like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, so like they definitely broke street date somewhere like really bad, but yeah, that was really exciting because it just seemed like destiny, right? Like
Yeah.
they had two copies there. We were both there, and then they had two copies of the next game. We were like, we're getting them both. Like
Yeah.
it's a duology. We have to get them both. Like
Yeah,
here
we're
we
coming home
are.
with both. And we turns out we
But
jumped the gun.
yeah, it wasn't meant to be. But we both did get Tales from Zero,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, I checked out first, and I got the sealed copy, even though you're the one that discovered them. I felt really bad. I was like, damn, I just pulled a fast one on him.
It's all
But
good. It's all
no,
good.
dude, I immediately came home and I was like, I gotta set up a Trails display. I have so much Trail stuff now,
Yeah.
and I set up all my games with my Reen figure at the front, right up here above my head. It's
Hell
pretty cool
yeah.
looking. I can't wait to get the final crossbow. I got to get the physical versions of the PSP games.
Dude.
It's got to happen at some
All
point.
right, so we're gonna kill this stream. So because it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna go to eBay right now and
Yeah.
just kind of give you an idea of what the pricing is, and
Okay.
then you'll determine if you're gonna continue with this fallacy that you have here because it's not happening. So let's go Trails into. Is it Trails from the Sky? From the
Trails.
Sky.
Yeah. I always get the
PSP.
from or to mixed up.
So Trails from the Sky, right?
Yeah.
PSP release. There is one right now for buy it
One.
now
Oh, God.
for $225. Do you want me to keep going? Should I keep going?
Yeah, give me the prices on like second chapter and the third.
Is it? Yeah,
Yikes! I was expecting like 150.
yeah, no. So
Someone's got this in their garage for sure.
yeah. So Trails from the Sky second chapter is a little bit more feasible, but it's going for like about $150.
Okay, I can handle that.
And then
I feel like the third is gonna be the most expensive because as far as I know, not many people bought the third.
what's the third one called? Just Trails from the. I can't remember what the fuck the third one's called.
Trails in the Sky, the third. I think I just called it the third. I thought third chapter. Trails in the Sky. The third, yeah, it's called just the third.
All right, 1 second. Trails in the Sky, the third. Oh, learn how to spell. There
Released in 2007 on the PSP.
And that one goes for that one goes for about $175. So you have fun with that.
Well, that one. Okay, so I'm gonna call an audible on that one because I guess that didn't come to the PlayStation Portable in English.
No,
Only in Japanese.
Correct.
It didn't see an English release until 2017.
Yeah, so that makes it tough to get all these Kiseki games. But I implore you, go for it, buddy. Go for it.
They're the only ones I don't have. So I don't know how I'm supposed to get the third. I might have to go to like a Japanese auction site.
You're just gonna have to import it.
Yeah, but they're the only ones I don't have. I mean, I kind of have to. So
Well,
now,
hold on. All right, so you're only going like the arcs that you can play, or are you going full Legend of Heroes here? Because like you're gonna continue to run into a couple boss level fucking games in that series.
I was just gonna go to the Trail series.
Okay,
So
all right, making sure.
I have all the Cold Steel. I'm about to have all the Crossbell games. I just have 3 more to go, and then I have a full set. I'm gonna have Reverie here in a couple months. So that's that's where we're at. And then it's all modern releases from there.
Yeah,
so I just gotta I have to step over the minor road bump of like $500.
yeah, just a little blip there, just a little fucking. So, are you like I asked you earlier? Are you have a specific focus you're gonna do? Are you gonna be more RPGs? Are you gonna get like specific series? Like, what kind of collecting are you gonna do, my guy?
Dude, I don't know. Listen, I think at the point where I'm at now, I have most of the games that I care about. And I think that's why I stopped collecting video games to begin with. Back in the day, was because like real collection I wanted to get up was my PS1 collection because I love the PS1, especially for the RPGs. And then I got all the games I cared about, like these games up here, like that's pretty much the only ones I care about. Now there's a couple I want to pad out, like we looked at the Lunar games.
Yeah.
There's a couple more for me to get, but I had them at one point, and then as like young 20-year-olds do, I sold a bunch of video games willy nilly, not thinking twice about it. So there's a couple PS1 RPGs I want to get, like the Lunar games. I want to get the first Star Ocean. I have the second story. I want to get the first Star Ocean. And then I'm looking for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Collector's Edition. I'm looking for a couple things. I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, just like I said, the fun for me is just going to the stores and going hunting for the stuff. If I find it, okay. But I just kind of like to see what we find. Like,
yeah,
when me and you went to these stores, I didn't buy a whole lot. I bought like a
No.
couple figures, but I was having a blast. You just looking through just like an amazement at this store.
Yeah.
And it's the same way I used to do for comic book stores. Like when I was really into like collecting comic books, I used to go to different comic book stores on my days off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just I would drive around different comic book stores. Now, a lot of I would say comic book stores are even in more dire straits than video game stores. At least video game stores tried. Comic book stores, a lot of times, you just walk into like a warehouse, and it was just a warehouse of long boxes. And I'm just like, geez, there's
So,
nothing to look at here.
so just in to recap some of the spoils here. Sorry for your bag rustling because I still have some of our stuff in the bag.
Yeah.
So just a little recap because what I'm going for is games that like I always wanted to play, that were always on my radar, that I just never either had the funds or just kind of never could find it, or sometimes when a game's on your radar, then sometimes just bloop off the radar it goes. So
Yep.
so obviously we got the famous Trails from Zero. We got that.
Yep.
I picked up Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 3 for the Xbox because we can't seem to emulate Grand Theft Auto games, and that remaster that came out was fucked up. So I have a feeling these are going to come hard to find at some point. And I like GTA games, so I also picked up GTA 4, and now in this era, you always go for the Ultimate Editions. I have all the DLC on the disc because now these consoles are like obsolete. So like you getting that DLC, probably not good chances, right?
Right.
So yeah, and then I picked up Dark Sector, which is like one of my favorite like mid-tier games. It's like a fucking B-level game, but I love it. Then I picked up Game of Thrones, Atlas game. Pay attention, Atlas.
Yep.
And then the random pickup is Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX 2 on the Xbox. I've never played it. Always played the first one, never played the second one. R.I.P. Dave Mirra. And then
Wait, did Dave Mirra die?
Yeah, bro, he committed suicide, dude.
When?
Yeah, like probably like 15 years ago. Like he's been dead a while.
Dude, I never knew that. I just thought, oh wow, I just thought he was just trucking along.
No, he is pushing daisies, unfortunately. So then I picked up Prince of Persia on your recommendation. You said it was pretty good.
Oh, and also the collector's edition of that, by the way.
Of course you fucking do. And then I picked up Homefront, so because I've heard this game's actually really good. The second one's a turd, but I've heard that Homefront is actually pretty good, and I'm like, all right, that might be on the radar.
Oh yeah, so let's talk about Homefront 2 for a second because I got to throw some shade, Pedro.
Okay,
throw in some shade. All right, George Loftus recommended Homefront 2 to me, and I demand my $20 back, George, because I actually couldn't get through the first chapter of that game. I was playing through it, and I'm like, this might be the most dull, generic game I've ever played in my whole life. And now I just want to be clear, I sat through 70 hours of Trails of Cold Steel 1. So for me to give up on Homefront 2 is pretty impressive. All right. I just wanted to make that point known.
That's really funny. Yeah, that game basically killed that series. I don't think we're ever getting a Homefront game again. No. So
it was in development for like 10 years too.
Yeah,
so.
Oof. So George, why don't you Venmo our guy here and let's call it even. Like I always remember Mr. George here has some hot takes. If you also would like, George, we could talk about that Islander Bruin playoff series a couple years ago. We could talk about it. It went great.
I have the funniest story for you about this. Because when George first came on to Frameskip, he didn't know any of our guys, right? He was just like this. So I met George about a decade ago. He used to run a PlayStation Vita Facebook group.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a member of it, and we met him through that. And he had a few podcasts that would collaborate with R&M and whatnot. So we've known George for a long time, and we met up at PAX East 2013, I think it was, with a guy named Ray Apollo, who's a Twitch affiliate now.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, Ray Apollo's cool too. Does not seem to like me anymore, unfortunately. Don't know what I did to him.
Ouch.
But I can make a few guesses. Anyway.
Love it.
So George comes on the frame skip, and we have him as a guest, and then we bring him on permanently when our schedules start conflicting and we need some more people. And he goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And you had a different, I think you had a different.
It's like it was Pauly Deuces for like the longest time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably Pauly Deuces. He's like, "This guy sucks. Fuck him." I'm like, that's one of my best friends, Pedro. He's like, "Oh, damn." I was like, "He's just messing with you, man. Like, this is just what he does." Like, he's just messing with you. He goes, "Oh, okay." He had no idea.
Yeah, because I was being a little mean, but like it was all in good fun.
Yeah, I was like, it's just his personality. Like, he's just messing with you. He's a good dude.
Yeah, because he was like talking about like he was a Celtics fan, right? He's the Boston
yeah.
guy. Yeah, so anytime like my teams would play a Boston team, I would immediately start running my mouth to him because like that's what we do as sports fan. But then so the other side of that, when he did tell me this, I was like, oh, he must think I'm being serious. I should probably stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think I called him a cuck once, and I was like,
oh, oh shit.
So I've noticed sometimes like when I meet other guys like or interact with other guys you podcast with, I have this bad habit of immediately saying something either offensive or really mean. Right?
Yeah, let's not talk about the last time that happened. All right, I was flabbergasted. Because you didn't, I know you didn't know, but like I was flabbergasted. I was like the one thing I just was not hoping you were gonna say.
Yeah. So,
oh my god.
Yeah, that's just sometimes
Yeah, it
things
happens.
just come
Sometimes,
out. It is what it is.
sometimes you just take an L.
Yeah. So,
that guy sucks anyway.
Venmo is $20. By the way.
Yeah, George, you can give me $20, or you can give me $20 in weight and blood. So those are your options, buddy. Just playing.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm this second iteration of me collecting is I'm really chasing down games that like were always on my radar and I just never got to. And once I get because I'm still not moved into my own place yet. So once I get that settled, get to set up my retro gaming space and probably gonna get a smaller CRT because I'm a big fan of like the experience. Like I like it having a CRT, original hardware if feasible, and then just really getting into games that I like never ever finished or played. So like I never finished the original KOTOR. I realized like I know what the ending is, but like I've never actually like sat down and gotten to the nitty gritty of it. I've never played KOTOR 2. I'm staring at the stack of games right now. I've never. Go ahead.
You're not gonna play them on Xbox, are you?
What, the KOTOR games?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna play the updated versions, but I just wanted to.
I'm just asking because you know that they're like PC games. Like they're meant to be played on a PC. They play way better on PC.
I have them on the hell is it, Game Pass or whatever fuck, or
They really work well. They really work well keyboard and mouse. That's kind of, it's sort of like playing like Civilization on like a console. It doesn't it works, but it's kind of like it's kind of rough around the edges, I would say.
Okay.
But you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know if because I'm just used to playing with controller, so I don't know if that flies for your boy here. But yeah, so like I've never played the Fable games. I bought the Warhammer Space Marine because you said that it was supposed to be pretty good, so I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Well, the second one looks amazing.
I didn't buy the nice updated Steam version. I just bought the 360 version, so hopefully that plays well. But yeah, just filling out games in the collection and other games I'm like nostalgic for. Like I said, I love Dark Sector, even though the game's not great, but I have great memories with it. I remember like watching trailers of it in school, like yeah, because like the graphics, it looked like Gears of War, like the same style of graphics. I'm like, all right, I'm in. And then just like the Mass Effect games, I have the entire trilogy now. Resistance have that entire trilogy. So just nice. Like the games that also don't emulate well, like it, and I don't really want to play fucked up versions on PSN. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just have these ready to go. And if for some reason, I have the inclination, I want to play through the Resistance series, I can, and I like that. That's a very comforting feeling for me. I like just being able, I want to do this. Boop. And
red money shot right here. There was those Resistance games. They're the ones to grab. I bet those games get expensive at some point.
Yeah, because
where are they? You can't fucking play them.
Right. So that's why pick them up now, boys. Pick them up now.
I think I have. I see Resistance 2. I don't know if I have Resistance.
I have if I
Fun
may have
fact.
2 copies actually. So
Fun fact. Me and Robert co-opted that game together. All of
yeah,
them
and see, like you'll always have
together.
that memory of that game, and like that's why, to me, the nostalgia. Like I've been watching. Do you know who the Happy Console Gamer is?
Yeah, I
Giant
used to
Millennial.
watch him back in OG days,
Yeah, I
man.
still watch him. And like just sometimes hearing him talk about the games that like he's nostalgic about, and like he'll talk about some of the gaming memories he has, and like sometimes he'll have his buddies on, and like just they'll just talk about it. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, you know what? I want the same. I want that same shit because I have something like every gamer ever has like memories with games, especially with their buddies and stuff like that. So like I just think that aspect of the collecting is cool. And I don't think it'll ever not be cool to me. And the nostalgia is nice. And like, sometimes you just want to go down memory lane and just feel like you're 16, 17, staying up way too late before school the next day playing some random ass RPG, you know, waiting for the girl on AIM to message you back that you're into, the good
You
stuff.
you talking about Happy Console Gamer reminds me of like Pete Dorr
Yeah.
and
The,
all these
the old
guys that
heads.
I forgot about, man.
Yeah.
Like these guys were legends
They're
back in the
still
day.
there.
Yeah, I see that. Well, there's Happy Console Gamer,
Gamester 81 was around.
Game
Yeah.
Straight One's the one I was thinking about. Is he still around?
I don't know if he makes content anymore. Like I honestly don't know. He's up there in age. He might be in his like mid-50s at this point, but
Game
um
Straight 81 was awesome. He had his own video game for a second there. He
yeah.
really he went in. Oh, there he is. He's 4 days ago, 2 weeks ago. He's still
Yeah,
making
he's
content.
around. He's still kicking.
So there's this one guy that the reason I started making YouTube videos, his name was Benzo8686,
I remember you telling me
and
about that guy.
he made really good RPG videos. And a while back he took down all his videos, and it made me really sad, man, because this guy this guy really had a great personality on the camera, and I became pretty good friends with him. And then I like got super mad and got in like an internet beef with some guy who made a Chrono Cross review and gave it a bad score. And he saw that and got like he like disassociated from it. And I was like, ah, that kind of sucks. I was 100% wrong, by the way. I was like being a little kid about it. And it's like, you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me? Like you don't know what you're talking about. Blah, blah, blah.
Uh,
Yeah, but
you know what's funny about old YouTube? And it's funny that like YouTube's that old now that we can talk about like the old days. Remember where people would make react videos? Like, this is
oh
my
yeah,
video. This is my response to whatever's video. Like, and then somebody would make a response to that. It was like a whole chain of just response videos, and I was just like, oh god. So
yeah.
it was like
So
the wild wild west back then, man.
that's how you used to beef. That I mean, like, and thinking about it is like wild because it still happens once in a while. Like, I just watched Moist Critical roast some dude for 15 minutes straight in like a legendary roast. He just put this video up today. But back in the day, man, you were just firing videos at each other back and forth, just getting in fights. And it's funny because now, unless someone said like something really egregious towards me and like
I wouldn't make
I
it
had a lot
fucking
to say, I cannot imagine sitting here
recording a
turning on a
whole video.
camera and just recording a whole video out of anger and like posting it online, talking about some other dude, just like, and they were in the gaming space too. Like I remember back in the early podcasting days, like the Gaming Arena podcast, we had this guy named Chris, and he was always getting in internet beefs.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Oh,
And the Italian console gamer or whatever he is
yeah. That
now,
is.
the Italian gamer 12 he was, but he was a huge drama queen, and he got in this argument with this guy who did Nintendo, and dude, like the thought of it is so weird because these guys were older, right?
Yeah.
And this wasn't like a personal beef. This was like a video game beef.
Yeah.
Like
That's like the
they
fuck.
were talking about like Sony ponies and like
Oh yeah.
Nintendogs and like they were just going back and forth and like very heated about this. I mean this went on for months.
Yeah.
But can you imagine getting in a fanboy argument and recording videos just like spouting videos back and forth, man? I
Absolutely
can't
not.
imagine doing
No.
that.
No, because
I
at
and
one
then
point I would have been like, "Fuck this, yeah, whatever, dude."
and like man, and then there was this other dude, and he was a teenager, he was younger, but I forget his name, and he was based in Canada, and he like straight up threatened to like stab us. Like he I can't remember his name. Major something, and his channel eventually got taken down, and he made a new channel with him with like a straw dummy outside, and he's like, this is what happens to people who push it too far, and he like took his knife and stabbed this dummy like 14 times. It was like really pathetic because he had no strength on his body at all. But yeah,
Oh my
man,
god.
crazy. It was at I Major Mac V, I think that
I
was his name. I
that
Major
that
Mac V.
that's amazing. That makes me happy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, those early days of YouTube, and it's funny you brought up the React videos because um,
Remember the Fine Bros
there
got a
was
bunch of
there was a
shade.
whole like thing on YouTube about like React girls.
Oh, I see. I don't remember that. I remember people were
Yeah,
like incensed at the Fine brothers because they like tried to either patent React video. They did something like that. They were trying to coin or get paid for anyone using the word reacts. Like they own
yeah,
React videos. I'm like, and we're like, how do you own a reaction video format? Like you didn't invent it.
yeah. These React girls were very controversial because they were like the original like internet
E-girls.
thought kind of
Yeah.
thing,
Oh
where like
god.
they would just sit there and like revealing like tops or whatever, and they wouldn't really have any interesting commentary on a video. They would just like react to it, and they'd just
Yeah.
like watch their face react. And it was like the first like big deal about like are you really like you're kind of just stealing people's content, right? You know that was
Yeah.
kind of like a that's kind of like a
Yeah, because YouTube's definitely that like weird. Like you could make a review on like a Nintendo game and get your shit flagged because like you're
yeah.
like I understand it both sides of it, but yeah, like that was it's crazy to see how much YouTube has aged and how I don't know certain eras of YouTube and like throughout the entirety of YouTube. My favorite thing ever is nobody understands the algorithm.
Oh yeah, never. Never. Well, you know what my favorite thing is that I had 2 chances to become big on YouTube, and I didn't capitalize on either of them.
Classic.
I had 2 videos that went viral and spiked, and I like I was starting to trend, and I was just like, "I'm good."
Hmm.
If I had jumped on those videos and like started and kept making content, I would have just
Hmm.
kept going up the algorithm, but I just chose not to.
No. Listen, we have a history of that around here.
I don't know.
Remember that time with T-Ball that we got offered a sponsor if we would have just
Yeah.
like if we would have I forget we're gonna do something like buy a bag or something like that. Like it was a deal like hey,
They gave us like an 80% off coupon to buy something from their store,
and
and
we're
then
like
like,
nah,
yeah,
nope.
we're good. I mean, the crazy thing about T-Ball was 2 beers and a whiskey was our old podcast. For people who don't know, the crazy thing about that was that I got nothing but glowing reviews from that show. Like people were talking about how amazing it was and how hilarious we were, and like I got no negative feedback whatsoever. But we just could not make it work schedule wise,
Yeah.
and um, just like once Watson got married, everything got kind of fell apart
Yeah, way to go,
differently, and like
Watson, you fucking selfish fuck.
once your stupid knee healed and you went back to work,
Yeah,
it
way to go,
ruined everything.
knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so funny. One of the funniest feedback I ever got about T-Ball. And I think I've told this before, but we had an episode where we were talking about either the topic of drug use came up or like that, and we had said, well, yeah, none of us smoke marijuana, but like this was in your vaping days, and you hit your vape pen, and it very much sounds like a bubbler going off in the background.
Oh, yeah.
So like it sounded like we were using a little hyperbole, like yeah, we don't smoke, as somebody's hitting a bubbler in the back.
Yeah, I used to vape on in the mic, and then when I would edit it back, I was like that had to be one of the first episodes. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, I gotta stop that
yeah,
because that is extremely loud. It's just like because we when we started 2 beers and a whiskey, we only had the one snowball, sort of like what you have now. But I set it to
yeah,
the setting where it recorded all the audio around it. Um, so when things like and that's not as sensitive as just like talking into
yeah.
it like you are. So when things like me vaping or Watson chewing, it wasn't a big deal, right?
Yeah.
But then once we switched to like the actual microphones that we got, they were way more sensitive when we were talking into them. I had to have Watson stop chewing, and that became a huge issue. He wouldn't do it. And I had to edit the podcast and hear his stupid spit sounds. And I told him, I was like, Watson, I'm not doing the podcast unless you don't chew. And then he was like, oh, fine, whatever, dude. Good times, though, dude. Like I said, I got
Yeah.
nothing but good feedback from Two Beers and Whiskey, and I really think if we would have been like more motivated and like kept it up, I think that podcast would have taken off because people were just telling me all the time how hilarious it was. And the thing was about Two Beers and Whiskey was that podcast was trash quality, man.
Oh
Like
my god,
we
yeah.
our audio was
Awful.
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 We could not like just we were all broke and we couldn't afford like a
No.
real camera, so I was using my cell phone.
Yeah,
And we had one snowball, and
it
we
was
got the
bad.
cheapest microphones eventually, and the cheapest soundboard. It
Yeah.
was
I
a
forgot
nightmare. That's
we had
why,
a soundboard. Oh my god, I forgot we got a
yeah,
soundboard.
yeah. I had a soundboard, and I was editing people's audio levels on the fly because people like you guys weren't talking into your mics. You would like sit back here and like start talking, and oh my god, it was a nightmare. And I hate editing, so like that's why that show eventually just kind of fizzled out because I cannot edit because my ADHD just won't let me have it. Um,
Oh
But
man,
yeah,
good
good times,
times.
man. I miss Two Beers and Whiskey, especially when we were coming back for that second season. I thought we did a lot better. We had like the Chug-a-Lug competition,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that yeah,
Maybe one of
those were
these days we
fun.
can do a return episode. Like maybe one just hey, just
To
for
come
us.
back,
Does yeah, like just for because it's something that as we get older, it's really hard to get adults like into a room. Like I don't know what
yeah,
it is. It's really hard to get everyone together and just fucking do something. And then like some of the times when we'd record that show, like we hadn't seen each other for like a week or two, and like we would just want to hang out. Like we would
yeah,
want. And so
yes. We
sometimes
would
like we're
sit
just
there and we would sit there, and it was like a recording night, and we would just be sitting in the living room, just hanging out, talking, and just, we would never get to recording. We would just hang out because that's what we wanted to do.
yeah, so yeah. One of these days we'll have to entertain like doing a comeback show, like just one. I don't know if that's a show that's like sustainable, just because I just feel like again the scheduling, and we're still waiting for
Yeah.
that intro, Watson. Still waiting,
Um.
motherfucker.
Every once in a while, Watson has like messaged me and said like, "Hey, like let's do a podcast again." And it's like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole with like, it's, especially when I know how Watson can be like hit or miss sometimes with like
We
his
love you, buddy.
scheduling and
Yeah,
yeah, we love him. He's our special little guy.
he's a special little
Um,
guy.
but yeah, dude, I
uh,
loved Two Beers and a Whiskey. I miss that show greatly.
yeah,
But
it's good
yeah, it is
times.
what it is. It was a product of our younger years, our younger drunk
Mhm.
years.
Oh my god,
Um,
yeah. Remember the fucking
Sometimes,
remember the fucking podcast? This is so embarrassing that I did this. Now that I look back on it, like wow, you're a fucking idiot. There's a podcast I had to leave halfway through because I had to go smash.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the podcast. All
I
right,
don't
boys,
remember.
gotta go. Got a Tinder date. I'm out.
My God, I remember. I remember like getting alcohol poisoning from Watson's awful whiskey that he got.
Yeah,
And I remember us talking about like abhorrent things on that
yeah.
show and just like letting it all
Like,
out because we were drunk and we had no filter.
like
So
yeah, we
people would
can't.
listen back. I don't know, man. People would listen back and they'd be like, "Wow, you really did that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I did." Because I had guys at work like listening to it. They were like, "This is great. And when are you putting more episodes out? Like, here's this." And then I never told you this, by the way. You might not remember, but one time when I was going out to get beer, I went to Wise and I had this story about this Wise cashier lady, and I
I
recorded it
remember
on the
this shit.
show. And like how like happy go lucky she was, and like how
Yeah.
out of control she was, how she shouldn't be so happy working at Wise. Well, and like I'm like this lady, she's clearly smoking crack, like she's a crackhead, and like I really I'm thinking that no one's ever gonna see it, right?
Oh my god.
My buddy at work, Trey, later went on to marry this girl. Yeah.
Oh no.
And one day we all went out to Wings because we were all super close at work. We all went out to Wings and we sit down and this chick sits in front of me and I'm like, oh my god. I lean over to my buddy Pick. I'm like, Pick, I made a podcast bit about her, and he's like, find it. It took me forever, but I finally found it, and I'm like, yeah, I go really hard on this chick, dude. I'm like, I'm like ripping her. I'm like, this chick who checked me out was so weird. Like, she was super happy to be working at Wise, and
Oh
she was like,
man.
oh, super talkative, and I don't know. I felt bad. We are
Awesome.
way off topic here. We are
Yeah.
out of control, but
It's all good. That's why, sometimes a stroll down memory lane, you never know where it takes it. So 45 minutes into the show, what have you been playing, buddy?
yeah, straight up. Um, I've been playing nothing but Trails in the Sky on my Steam Deck. Now I haven't had a whole lot of time to play games this last, uh, really like the last 2 weeks. I've been working a lot of overtime, but yeah, I've been putting a lot of time into Trails in the Sky, and I'm really enjoying it, man. I know in the last episode we talk about how like I was giving it a shot and I was like really iffy about it, but what I'm finding is on the Steam Deck, I'm not constantly feeling like I could be playing something better on my PC, or constantly feel like I'm wasting my time playing something on my PC or PS5, because it's that perfect. The game, first off, the game's built to be a portable game. It was built for the PSP,
Yeah.
so that's nice, and it really feels at home on the Steam Deck. It runs super well, even though the Steam Deck says it's unsupported. And as far as the game's quality, like I kind of thought that there was like a fandom thing, sort of like the personas about like like whichever persona you play first is probably your favorite. I
Mm.
really thought there was a fandom thing about sort of in that vein when it came to the arcs in the Trail series, the Sky, Crossbell, or the Cold Steel, because a lot of people would say the Cold Steel arc, the writing is a little bad. But now that I'm going back and playing Trails in the Sky, I can kind of agree with that. The characters are written in Trails in the Sky way better, and they have way more personality in Trails in the Sky. And yeah, I'm about 15 hours in, falling in love with it. I think it's not nearly as long as the Trails of Cold Steel games.
That's good.
I think how long to beat has Trails in the Sky at like 35 hours.
That would be the sweet spot, because yeah, that first the Arabonia arc is like, some of those games, all those games are just long. And not that it's like a
Yeah.
bad thing, but if it's a lot. And I
Yeah,
think like,
main story, Trails in the Sky, 40 and a half hours. Not terrible.
no, that's bad. That's not bad. Yeah, but I think just jumping in as a new player, like on everyone's recommendation, it's a little tough. But I could see how, if you just hammered out the third, the Cal is it Calvard? Or are they in, what's that? What fucking country are they in? It's not Liberal. If you do the
Yeah.
Liberal arc, and then like you're probably fucking high gear heading into the next one. So like, I think maybe like going in that way for us was a little tough, and
Yeah.
I don't know. What we'll see, because I'm like, you kind of have me thinking about those games, but we'll see. I'm gonna wait for you to get about halfway through, see what the recommendation is, and we'll
Well,
go
I'm
from
about
there.
halfway through right now, is what I was saying. Like,
Okay.
I'm about at the end of maybe not halfway through. Maybe I might be like a third of the way through instead of
Okay.
half. But so just for reference, if you beelined Trails of Cold Steel straight through, you're looking at 60 hours. I'm looking at right now.
Oof.
But both me and you, I think, because of how anal we are, and
Yeah.
for people who don't know, they give you grades at the end of Trails of Cold Steel every chapter, right? So, and not only do you get grades, you get a lot of bonuses based on the grade you get. So you're almost, for anyone who's like a normal brained person, you want to do the side missions. So that's kind of what I would consider beelining through the game as well. 'Cause I don't know anybody who's played Trails of Cold Steel. I don't even know how you could do it. Just playing the main story and just going through.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's a
That
game
being
you just
said,
no life.
the main plus the sides is 80 hours. So it adds about another 20 hours just
Yeah.
doing the side quests.
Hmm.
And then a completionist is 108 hours. So
So now, are there any characters that pop up so far that like we would have the moment that like we missed in the Arabonia arc?
um N- no, not the except for the ones that you would expect, right? I don't want to spoil it too much, but people obviously know that like the liberal cast shows up in the second half of the Arabonia arc,
Mhm.
and like Estelle's dad shows up in the second half of the Arabonia arc at some point.
Cassius
Um,
Bright.
yeah, the legend. Um,
Does he do any
but
legendary shit so far?
no, the game starts out with him missing. You're
Yeah,
trying to find him.
love it.
Yeah. Oh no. So I did see Agate. I came across Agate right now.
Okay.
I don't think he's a main party member. I think he's sort of like one of these guys that pops in and out, but that's too soon to see. I mean, I got two more games to run through. So, um, yeah. And then the other thing is, and I was telling you about this earlier today. There's an anime that takes place in the first chapter of the second game, and that is skyrocketing in rarity. So I got to pick that up. I got to find that. I got to find that
Yeah.
and pick it up.
So, yeah, we'll definitely get into the anime topic because I have a lot to say. Excuse me. So you've been playing Trails. Anything else you've been playing, my buddy? Hmm?
Nah, man, that's pretty much it. I just been on this huge Kiseki kick right now because
Yeah.
I see I see a future, right? I see a future in which I can just roll through all these Kiseki games because I don't necessarily want to get caught up because people that get caught up I can see are the angry ones that we're going to get to later on with the Kiseki drama. Um, but I just love having, like an uncountable amount of hours ahead of me in story content with these
Right.
games. And that was kind of nice with the Trails of Cold Steel games. And now with the Trails in the Sky and then the Crossbill arc in front of me. And then by the time I get that done, like the Trails of Reverie game and maybe even Kuro is going to be out. So it's going to be, fat pickings for us Trails
Yeah,
fans for a
a
while.
lot of meat on the bone. So as far as me, I've only been really playing one game as well. And as everyone knows on this show, or anyone who even knows me personally, I am a huge Persona, more so Shin Megami Tensei, but I like Persona games too. But anything in that mythos, I like. And recently, I had posted it on Facebook, like, hey, what RPG should I play? And everyone's like, oh, play Xenoblade, play Xenoblade. I'm like, wasn't really feeling Xenoblade right now. Just wasn't really into it. So I noticed I had said on previous podcasts, and I've said it a lot, that I have this like weird, strange relationship with Shin Megami Tensei 5. Like, I remember I took the day off from work when it came out, and I played it, and I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but I was kind of like, I don't know why. It was just something like the Nahabino didn't really rub right with me. I didn't really like he's a guy girl, like is the long hair, he's got skates. I'm like, what's going on with this character? Um, because my favorite SMT character is probably the Demi Fiend. I think his character arc is pretty cool if you pay attention what happens to him in Nocturne. But I'm sitting here, I'm seeing all these other YouTubers talk about other SMT games, and I see people talk about Strange Journey, which I still hate, but I'm willing to try again. Uh, and nobody, but I don't really see anyone talking about SMT5 either negatively or positively, because I don't know, for some reason that game just has a really just kind of in the middle opinion. So I'm like, all right, let me just get into this. And so I boot up the game, playing through, and I'm noticing some of the same tropes of Shin Megami Tensei games where they will throw boss fight after boss fight at you unexpectedly because the game's designed for you to wipe. Like I've wiped like at least 7 or 8 times already, uh, and then because it's basically saying, oh yeah, you beat this boss, now there's another one, but you got to grind for that one. But they do it back to back, so you wouldn't think that. Uh, and I'm noticing certain things that are very very ambitious that they did. And my biggest problem with this game, I really love it, for the record. I actually really am loving my time with it now. Like I'm really into it. I'm like, all my demons are approaching the mid 30s. I'm having a blast. Uh, but what I noticed is this game doesn't run well, or could run better, I guess. And I feel like Atlas was trying to be really ambitious with this game and really make it the definitive SMT experience where it's like an open world, side quests everywhere, huge world to explore, but like it's really limited on the Switch, and that sucks because I for some reason SMT games really sell well on Switch. Like that's where the bread and butter's been for them.
Right.
For that
Right.
franchise. And all of a sudden they put the newest SMT game, the newest mainline one, they put on everything but the Switch. So I think
Right.
that's a sign, a harbinger. They're kind of like, all right, the power limitations here aren't great. So I'm really liking SMT5. It's I don't know if I feel like it's hard. Like I haven't encountered anything that's unbeatable for me without some grinding. Oh, atta girl. um, that is unbeatable. Just with a little bit of grinding, and you got to know your demons. So maybe that's just me kind of being experienced with the franchise. That once I know somebody's weak to this, or I know a certain combination of demons, or using your debuffs, all that fun stuff. Once you figure that out, bosses fall pretty quickly. But I'm really enjoying my time with it. I'm liking the story right now. I noticed there's DLC where you get to fight the Demi Fiend, um,
Ooh, that's pretty
which I'm
cool.
gonna download, and I think for the first time I'm gonna kill him. Every single time I've encountered the Demi Fiend as DLC, he's always clapped my cheeks. This time it's time to get a dub here. Time to get on the board.
It's, it's time for Pedro to clap some cheeks.
Yes, I yeah, need to clap some cheeks. But this is leading me. So I think after I finish SMT5, um, I'm gonna start eyeballing some other games in the franchise that I've avoided because I've heard they're hard. But it's time to get some. It's time to get some notches on the old belt.
I like this.
Because I beat Nocturne. I'm like, all right, if I beat Nocturne, then like probably everything else is reasonable. And my goal is to
No,
beat.
see,
Oh, go ahead.
this upsets me. All right, this upsets me because they ruined that trophy that you got in your belt where you beat Nocturne because they fucking re-released it and added an easy mode.
Yeah.
And now people can just walk
Yeah,
around
you're right.
saying
Yeah,
I
I beat
beat
Nocturne.
Nocturne. And it's like oh wow, that's really impressive unless you know there's an easy mode and you have no way to prove or disprove that they play the easy mode. You
Right.
know, it's different than it used to be. Nocturne's a legit hard RPG.
Oh yeah, that's an asterisk now. So now I have to. But my goal
Yeah,
is to beat every mainline SMT game. So like those Super Nintendo games on my ball, I'm like, oh, this is gonna hurt, but we're in because those are those first person dungeon crawler that you hate.
I'm
but
not into them.
Yeah, but I feel like I gotta I feel like I need to beat them as an SMT fan. Like I feel like it's like a rite of passage for me. So
A
that's
rite of passage just to be miserable.
well, just because everyone says like most SMT fans, at least thank God, like that community isn't as toxic as other communities. I've noticed, but they hate Persona fans, which I think is strange. But
They should love Persona fans because
right,
that's the
it's the
only
fucking only
reason
thing
their
keeping them
series is.
fucking lights on.
Yeah.
uh, but I also love when Persona fans go back and play like, oh, I want to play other SMT games, and they get their teeth kicked in immediately. That's one of my
Oh
favorite.
no no
That's
no.
one of my favorite things in the world. We're like, oh yeah, I want to check out the other games. Oh no, you don't. Go back.
Yeah.
Uh, yes,
Enjoy your little spin-off series.
right. So that's what I've been playing mostly. But you brought up the topic of collecting anime because this is an anime that's been on my radar. There's a Digital Devil Story anime, like an AMV from like the NES games that I've always wanted to own, but like I don't know how I'm gonna get it. And you brought like you messaged me today, like, hey, we might need to like start looking into getting into this anime collecting, and I'm like, and I was thinking about it all day. All day at work, I'm sitting here typing cases. I'm like, how the fuck are we gonna like? Because the easy answer is eBay, but like to me that bores the shit out of me. I don't want like I'm still in the old school where like you want to find it as we call it in the collecting space in the wild. So is it something where we do we go to Best Buy? Do we go to like where the fuck are we
See,
gonna find some anime, my
I
guy?
have I have already
Oh,
got
you have a
you here.
plan.
I've already got a plan, man. What is now, Pedro?
Mm-hmm.
You're we'll get here. What is the one store that you could always count on to have random amounts of anime at any given time in the mall?
FYE.
That's right, buddy. And FYE is closing and shuttering their doors left and right. And I guarantee you, these anime are going to be hitting the clearance shelves 1-2 cents a pop.
You
All right,
think?
that's where we slide in, and no one's looked at these anime sections in years. All right, no one's even touched these things. They probably have 8 layers of dust on them. That's where I think we dive in. We slide in at the FYEs around Pennsylvania,
All right.
start grabbing these rare anime,
All
and
right.
then we become the kings of the anime collecting world.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is a hard task because any which way you slice it, it's expensive. If you want to
Yeah.
really get ahead of the game, because um, anime now is like, I mean, it always has been, but I feel like 20 to 10 years ago, it wasn't as bad.
Hmm.
Now, maybe 10 to 15 years ago, it wasn't as bad. Where it's super expensive, dude. If you want to buy like a season of anime that you watched on Crunchyroll or
Yeah,
Funimation or
you're
something,
shelling like $50 immediately,
for
even
like
or
half the
more.
season, for
Yeah.
like 8 episodes, dude. Like I was a huge Sword Art Online fan, and I really wanted to get the Sword Art Online Blu-ray, but I wasn't paying the money that they wanted for it, dude. They were releasing it in quarter seasons for like $50. And I'm like, and they were so detached, right? That when people complain about this, Funimation, who's really the main publishing company in the United
Yeah.
States, there's really, I mean, there's other companies, but Funimation's the big one, right? They're like, well, if people wouldn't pirate them, we would be able to release them at lower prices. I'm like, no, you don't understand though. People are pirating your anime because you release them at such high prices. They don't get that. And now that people
Yeah.
stream anime constantly,
Yeah.
no one's
Like,
buying anime. The prices still haven't dropped. I
right.
mean, dude, the prices of anime seasons are insane,
Mm.
absolutely out of control. So if you want to get ahead of the curve and like start getting like some of this anime, then you're shit out of luck. You're just dropping money no matter what.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like modern anime in the digital age isn't going to go rare. You got to get the old stuff
Yeah.
because there's certain, like, okay, for instance, let me give you an example here. Dragon Ball Z, right?
I remember seeing box
Funimation,
sets for that fucking shit all the time.
yeah, so Funimation has fucked up Dragon Ball Z's re-release and digital releases over and over and over again, to the point where now when you watch Dragon Ball Z streamed or you buy like the Blu-rays, you're only getting 70% of the original cell frame picture. Like that's how far zoomed in it is, because they've done bad releases over and over again. So what they did was they cut the Dragon Ball Z to fit widescreen, right?
Hmm.
Because it was back in the day, so it was a full screen uh, show. So they cut it to make it widescreen, which is a ridiculous thing to do. But instead of, when they changed it again, they re-released it again, instead of cutting it to the original aspect ratio, they cut the edges off the widescreen version, right?
Why?
So now
No.
you're zoomed in not only once but twice. It's a miserable experience to watching the new Dragon Ball Z releases. All right, you don't want that. What you want are the Dragon Box sets. Back in the day, the best version we got of Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Box sets,
Yeah.
they go for astronomical amounts of price.
Yeah. So I'm looking right now just because like in my head I'm like thinking of some anime I want to get. So the Samurai X, as in Rurouni Kenshin, one of my probably my favorite anime of all time. That's a $300 DVD set, my guy.
So how,
That hurts.
before
That's
we
on
move
Amazon.
on,
That's on Amazon.
how do you feel about Rurouni Kenshin Samurai X with the creator?
What happened with the creator? I'm not. I don't follow.
He supports child pornography
Oh. Uh. Huh.
and is not like just like
Is he like in jail supporting child porn or like what? What? Like, give me,
like
I need a
he.
sit rep here. I need a full scope.
Let me just look it up before I misspeak. But I think he's like an actual advocate for it.
Oh fuck.
Rooney
That's
Kenshin
wild. You know, as you're filling this in,
queer
so
controversy.
this happened. One of my favorite bands of all time, Lost Prophets. their lead singer is like in jail for like touching a little baby, and you can't listen to that no more. So if
Colin Moriarty was just talking about this.
yeah, like an entire, they were a great band too. They were like one of my all time favorite fucking bands, and they're off all streaming platforms. You cannot listen to their music because if you do, you would like, yeah, hey, the lead singer's a child molester. So yeah,
So yeah, okay. So here's what Wikipedia says.
okay.
In November 2017, police found DVDs with footage of naked girls in their early teens in Watsuki's Tokyo
Oh,
office. Tokyo police raided Watsuki's home as part of an investigation into the purchase of child pornography. The search uncovered about 100 child pornography DVDs. 100, by the way. He was referred to
wow.
prosecutors over possession of child pornography on November 21st. The serialization of Rurouni Kenshin, the Hokkaidai arc, was put on hiatus after the details of Watsuki's charges were made public. In
Oh,
February 2018, Watsuki was fined about 200,000 yen or about 1,500 US dollars.
what?
The Hokkaidai arc resumed serialization in June of that year. This guy got out, was fined $1,500, and his show went back on the air
Wait,
like
so
nothing
there's
ever happened.
there's new episodes? I didn't know that. But that
Rurouni
that
Kenshin.
sucks.
Oh, God, I'm sorry to bring that up, but I
I didn't
thought that
know.
it was, yeah. I
That
thought that
sucks.
was prevalent to get your take on that, because I know we talk about separating the art from the artist, but that is the ultimate evil, right? I mean, that
Yeah, like I'm
is,
not trying to fund that, put money in this guy's pockets to buy fucking kitty porn. Like that's fucked.
especially when he pretty much got out away from it.
Yeah,
He
like how do
pretty
you get
much
a
got,
how do you get a $1,500 fine for fucking child porn? Like what the fuck? What are the laws in that country? Like hold on, let's pause there. Like Japan? Are you kidding
yeah,
me?
yeah,
You'll arrest Yuji Naka for like insider trading, but fucking man possesses child porn, and he gets a $1,500 fine.
yeah.
What are we doing, Japan? What are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess we're
And
out
it's
on
something
Rurouni
that
Kenshin. That
it's something
sucks.
that people don't really ever talk about, right? Um, Now the other side of this is like Hollywood elite are fucking absolute scumbags and criminals and whatnot too, right? And these
Yeah.
guys are getting popped left and right on kitty porn. Do we try to live a moral life by not consuming the media that they create, or like where's the line drawn there? You know, because I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
It's
tough.
very it's hard.
It's tough because I'm a little shocked that like that stuff's even still on the air because like with Lost Profits, like I was saying earlier, you cannot find their music anywhere, like unless you
Oh,
go and like,
really?
but yeah, like they're off all streaming platforms because like their lead singer is sitting in prison right now in the UK for molesting a basically a newborn. Like he was doing some
Jesus
hardcore, yeah, like
Christ.
hardcore weirdo shit. So it's like it's like society made that decision for you. Like you're not like, it's barely even on YouTube. Like if you YouTube it, like you can find some songs, but like it sucks because like I said earlier, Lost Profits was one of my all-time favorite bands growing up. They were great. Like they made so many good ass albums. So to have all that ripped away, and because obviously it's understandable, like you don't really want to put money in the hands of, or royalties in the hands of a guy who did that, but you also victimize the rest of the band because all the other members like that. Well, all our life's works done, gone. So you got to walk that fine line. I say vote with your wallet, as our boy Colin M famously says. He, if you can respect the medium and the anime and you really like it, I encourage you to purchase it. But if it's something that is a big moral issue for you, then yeah, I can totally understand not wanting to even associate. So like for me, like I got to think about it. Like, do I really, really want to support that? No. Can I separate the art from the artist? Because it's like literally, I have so much nostalgia for that anime. So it's like that sucks.
Yeah. Well, in the buying it secondhand really isn't gonna support him in any way,
Yeah,
right? So, I mean,
got a decision to make there.
there's that, but
But
I don't know. I thought I'd bring that up
yeah,
because
I didn't know
I
that. Thank you
find it
for
interesting.
yeah, if I thank you for enlightening me that. And it also just proves my point. Getting older is just watching like all your childhood heroes and finding out they're all scumbags. Never meet your heroes.
True,
Um,
true.
so you said about getting into the older stuff. I love the older anime. I love it. Can't get enough of it. I used to follow Wario64 on Twitter. I still do, so I don't know why I said used to, but he used to always post that certain anime were on sale on Amazon. I think he probably still does, but that's how I got the entire run of Outlaw Star. I got the entire run of Cowboy Bebop. Record of Lodos War. I got the entire run of, which I really need to watch that because I heard that's actually really cool. Uh, I bought Akira, which I've never watched. I bought Fist of the North Star, which is probably my favorite anime movie of all time. And I'm trying to think what else I bought. I think I bought Neon Genesis Evangelion. I think I can't. I'd have to go look, but I, I I love when you buy these old DVDs and you see like the dust on the screen. I just love the presentation. So collecting old anime is something I've always wanted to do. I've actually really wanted to start collecting old movies and just have a fucking sick movie library. Um, just again, for same thing with video games. Like, you want to be able like, oh, I want to watch this movie today. Like, just all right, boop, put it in, boom. And when I own a house, this is my dream. Now stay with me here. So
Okay.
when I own a house, this is like I've always wanted this. So I want to have a retro game room. That's a must, or just a game room. I don't know about retro, but just a game room. Yeah, I gotta have that. But I also want to have a separate movie room where you
Okay.
watch all the old movie. Like you get a nice old TV with a nice like get the old sound bar, or not the old sound bar, like
Okay.
the old stereo system with the old school surround sound,
Okay.
and then just
I think this.
yeah, and then just have like record players in there, like all the old formats and mediums in there, just to have that experience. That's my dream. That's the dream.
That sounds great, man. I
Yeah.
really wanted to start getting into like retro, like a real immersive retro experience. But then me and you were talking, and I saw like the prices of like TVs. I'm like, nope,
Well,
I'm priced out of this.
listen, you let your boy handle finding you a TV. All right. What do you
Okay.
what do you want? What are you looking for? You want a Trinitron? What do you want, my guy?
I don't know. I just something that looks half decent, and I can play retro games on the way they were supposed to be played.
All right. You let your boy sleuth it out. I've got some connects. I'm
All right.
savvy, and I
Because
will
no matter what they do, you never see it the way it's supposed to be seen. Like
no.
they put filters over it, and like they try to
Yeah,
smooth it, and
yeah.
it never
So
works.
onto that, you got to go S video. So get yourself some S video cables. They're really cheap on Amazon. It's because you're mostly going to play what PS1 on it, if that.
PS1, maybe some Super Nintendo stuff, but
Yeah. So we
Super
got to get
Nintendos are fragile. So
yeah. That's why Segas are better. We got to get you some S video cables, and I will find you a CRT. But then do you want a curved one, or you want a straight flat one? You're gonna play light gun games. I need
no, I'm not gonna be
details.
playing light gun
All
games. So I
right,
always thought light gun games were stupid. To be honest with you, I'm sorry if that hurts, but
that does
not
hurt me
into
a little
them.
bit. That wounds me deeply, but it's fine. Uh, I will find you a TV. Don't you worry, buddy.
I
So,
appreciate that.
so which animes are you looking to collect? Like, I know you had mentioned
Well,
Dragon Ball Z.
I would love to get the Dragon Box versions of Dragon Ball Z, especially because they're the ones that still have the Bruce Faulkner soundtrack, the one that
Are
we grew
those
up
the
with.
long? Are those ones we always would see in FYE? The big ass box sets. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to remember them offhand. What they look like.
I think that the reason they're called the Dragon Box is because when you put them together, they had a giant dragon on the side of them.
Yeah. Okay. Those are the ones I remember. Then. Yeah.
And they were pretty. No, they're yellow. I don't know why they call them. I think the Dragon Box is the name. They're yellow, and you almost never see them. They weren't like re-released. They didn't have a long run, but it is the best way to watch Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. So I
So
have a story to tell. So I don't think I've ever told you this. This is a
okay,
brand new story. Um, how I got into anime. Like obviously I watched Dragon Ball Z. Like I watched Toonami, but I have a cousin. He's probably in his 40s now, and he has the same name as me. He's my cousin Pedro. Um, and
okay,
he would always take me like on the weekends to go to the mall in New York, and he would take me to like Sam Goody, which I don't know if you know what that is. It was like Best Buy basically, and other just video stores. But there was this one place I can't remember the name, but It was in the Cross County Mall. If those of you familiar with like um, Westchester County in New York, it's a Cross County Mall, and we'd go to this place, and he would buy just DVDs of anime that would come out every month. So like that one, and I'd watch them with him. So like we watched. That's how I actually watched Gundam Seed. He got me into Gundam. He got me into Yu Yu Hakusho. We watched the entire run of Yu Yu Hakusho, and
Oh
then
shit.
when like the 7 came out, all that other stuff, like I didn't know any of this was a thing, like because it wasn't on Toonami yet. So I was seeing like stuff. I was like, whoa, like it was like blowing my mind. Other animes we'd watch were Dot Hack, Sayuki
Okay.
7. I'm trying to think what else. Uh, like Samurai X, uh, Samurai Champloo, Van Helsing, uh, Wolf's Rain. I'm trying to think of other stuff. Like I'm trying to remember offhand that we watched. Gantz, like we, and then he would subscribe to like Cablevision at the time had this thing called the Anime Network, and he subscribed to that, and we would just watch animes there. That's where I first watched the original run of Baki the Grappler, and
Oh shit.
yeah, so like he I can thank him for like so much of the stuff I'm into. I would love to have him on the show. He would never do it, but he got me into so much of that. Um, and that's why I always look fondly into that era of anime, because like some of the stuff I was watching was like fucking crazy. That, or even the anime you hated that I was watching called Get Backers. The dub was bad, but you came in
Remember
one
those?
day. I was watching Get Backers on Amazon. You're like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "Oh, okay. I'll just go watch this upstairs." um,
Sorry,
but
buddy.
it's all good. It's it was it was like one of the it was like one of my favorite animes, because like I remember going always over to his place and watching it with him, and we'd order pizza, and it was always just like the nostalgia. You know what I mean? So if I can get all those animes, there was an anime that I think it was Sayuki, where the main character's name was Goku. I was like, wait, hold on. There's another guy named Goku? I think that's the one. And I've always wanted to finish that. I never finished Samurai Deeper Kyo. That was another one we watched. So like we were in the fucking weeds, man. Like I was a huge anime nerd, like, and didn't realize it. To me, I thought there was this fucking awesome shows. Like I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
called anime.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize like the whole weeb culture that came with it, or I don't know if that came later, but like for me, it was like something I just watched naturally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've always I don't think I've ever told you that story,
That's pretty sweet.
the
Yeah.
origin story.
Those early anime years are awesome because they're everyone's got their own story and how they got into anime, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of us got into anime through Toonami, but
Mm-hmm.
you didn't want to. I mean, Toonami was like a gateway, but you didn't want to sit there and watch a whole series on Toonami. Like famously, like Dragon Ball Z took like 20 years to finish on Toonami.
Yeah.
It started when Dragon Ball Z started when I was in second or first grade on Toonami,
Oh,
and then it didn't finish until I was in high school because they didn't get the episodes in Toonami forever.
yeah.
Um, they just kept rerunning arcs over and over and over again. It was wild. Um, but as far as like anime I want to pick up, I would like to have a complete set of Dragon boxes, just because obviously like I'm a huge Dragon Ball collector, clearly from the display behind me. Um, and I already have all of Yu Yu Hakusho. Um,
Mm,
I would like to get the Yu Yu Hakusho like OVAs, like the one offs that they made.
yeah.
Um,
I've never seen any of them. I'd like that too.
they made one in like 2018. I think that I've always been meaning to check out. I want to get all of Demon Slayer because Demon Slayer is just a phenomenal work of art, and the Trails in the Sky anime. I gotta get that, man. I got my hands on it because I think that's pretty cool. They made an anime out of that.
Okay.
So,
So you you got into Toonami like a little bit, obviously after I did, because I'm a little bit older than you. You know, fun fact, I'm well into my 30s. Uh,
well,
go ahead.
I don't, I don't know, I don't know if I did or not though because I don't remember. I remember on Toonami, Samurai Warriors, and that was one of the OG shows. I think I remember Gundam Wing. I remember
Yeah.
Sailor Moon, and I don't know what else. So I think I was there for the start of Toonami, but I mean Dragon Ball was like the big hit, right? Everyone just cared about Dragon Ball.
Yeah, so I remember so Toonami, like I remember it when it like first aired like it was like 97, 98. But by the time I got out of Toonami, like I ran into the same thing you just talk about. Like all the arcs, I felt like Dragon Ball Z was just never going to end because like
Right.
they would show a new episode, then rerun. So, I actually the way I finished Dragon Ball Z was my cousin Pedro. He got like the imports, the or not the imports, the dub, not the dub, the subs. Excuse me, of like the rest of the episode. So that's what I watched, and I was like, holy shit.
That's pretty
Um,
awesome.
Dude, do you remember when you first discovered there was like one offs? By the way, quick side piece. You're like, oh shit, there's like
Yeah.
side stories. Like what?
Yeah, there's like these weird. And I'm like, well, what is an OVA? Like,
Yeah.
and like I don't know. It's
What
just
was the what was the first
anime was like
OVA you
weird.
watched?
Oh, I have no idea.
I,
Probably something Dragon Ball
yeah, for me
related, I would imagine.
it was the Turles one, the Tree of Life.
So the Dragon Ball ones were different though because they were marketed as like real films, and then Dragon Ball does have OVAs, and like the plan to eradicate the Saiyans and Yo Son Goku and his friends return. But the Dragon Ball movies, I don't think they consider them OVAs.
Oh,
They're like
really?
actual movies, yeah, that they made. Side note: The Tree of Life is a phenomenal Dragon Ball movie. And
Yeah, I like
fun
that.
fact: the only time all the Z fighters are together.
Yeah, I always thought that was a really cool movie. Then I remember when I watched Broly, the first Broly movie,
Oh
and
yeah,
like I thought Broly was cool. I didn't have like the obsession with Broly that seems to happen in the fan base, but I thought it was a cool character, and I really liked the most recent one they did, the Super Broly or whatever the hell it was called. It just came out. It was a couple years ago. It came out.
oh yeah, yeah. Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yeah, I thought that was a
Come
really
on,
cool movie,
Pedro.
and I hope he makes a return if he already hasn't. I have no idea. I don't really watch Dragon Ball anymore. I didn't watch any of Dragon Ball Super. All right, so as we were saying, we were talking about the older anime movies and when we first discovered them. So we're talking about Broly uh, and how cool I thought he was, and so this stroll down memory lane with the anime. I feel like we've had one before, but like this was more of definitely a deep dive. What would you say is the anime that had the most impact on you?
I mean, that's easy. It's clearly Dragon Ball. I mean, the whole reason I'm a martial artist is because of Dragon Ball, right? Like that started me down. Like, I mean, that changed my whole life trajectory with Dragon Ball. So yeah, I mean that's a no brainer for me. I don't even have to think about that.
So
What about you?
how'd you stumble on the Dragon Ball? Like how did you know to watch Dragon Ball? Like what
I
happened
feel like
there?
no, I just feel like it was probably the same way a lot of kids stumbled upon Dragon Ball, which was I'm coming home from school and turn on Cartoon Network, and instead of whatever bullshit I was watching at the time, Toonami's on, and it's playing some crazy animation with the guys screaming and punching each other, and it's hyper violent, and my 6-year-old brain or whatever it was just exploded. And I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
what is this? Um, so that's really how I got started with Dragon Ball, and ever since then it was just it's been a love story with Dragon Ball and the video games. And I had an older cousin who's about 5 years older than me. I want to say maybe a little more, a little less. I don't know. He was really into Dragon Ball as well, and a bunch of nerdy stuff. He's the one who got me into like JRPGs too. His name was Adam, and he had on disc these like it was before the days of YouTube, but they were like edits,
Oh
like what you
shit.
would consider like an AMV
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
the Janemba movie and the Broly movies. And I'm like, yo, what is going on here? Like this is crazy. This is next level. Um, really cool stuff, man. Really cool like music videos for the stuff from Dragon Ball we hadn't even seen yet.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, he's the one that got me into all that, and he's the one that got me into like some more obscure JRPGs like Thousand Arms and stuff. Um, and then Dark Cloud,
Ooh, I like
really
Dark
really cool.
Cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. So that's how I got started with Dragon Ball, and now I got my girlfriend. She watched Dragon Ball all the way through last year, and she's a huge fan now too. And yeah, it definitely the anime has had most impact on me. What about you?
So for me, it was probably, unfortunately now, like it's definitely probably Samurai X. Like I remember just uh this I was already into anime at the time. Like I was watching Toonami, and like I liked Dragon Ball Z. I really loved the Gundam Wing. Like, who doesn't love fucking giant robots? Like, come on.
Hmm.
Uh
Hmm.
but then like when they started advertising the Samurai X show or Yurani Kenshin, I'm like, what's this? Because
Right.
I hadn't really even known about like Edo period or I forget. I think it's in the Edo or the Meiji period. One of those periods of Japan. Excuse me.
Meiji sounds right.
Yeah. And I'd really never experienced anything like that. And then, the first episodes, they're like fucking talking about this Batosai guy who's like a fucking badass, basically. Like people speak his name and start like, oh shit. And then you have Kenshin, who's just like this, unassuming guy, but then he's got his katana on the raw. He's got his katana flipped so he doesn't kill people. But fun fact, if he just kind of turns it the other way, he can. But he just, his katana
Right.
traditionally is not designed to kill or even cut people really. Uh, so I thought that was really cool. And then just like his character art, and then some of the characters they introduced, like Sanosuke with the Zambato, like he's got this big giant fucking blade, and like it's I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
that anime is just has been so impactful to me because I love anything like samurai now, mostly anything
Hmm.
samurai. So it's like um I don't know that I still think about that anime sometimes. Like also like, just thinking about an episode here and there. I actually never finished it. I like after there's one arc where he fights another samurai who's like burned all over his body, and it's a really cool
I
arc.
remember this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
and
this.
I never watched past. I watched a little bit past it recently, where he fights another guy who thinks he's or claims to be God or something like that. And it just wasn't that good of an arc for me. Like, so I stopped watching. But some of the characters are so memorable in that series, so that series will always be near and dear to my heart, right there.
I've always wanted to go back and watch Samurai Warriors, one of the original.
Mm.
Because I remember watching it as a kid and really liking it. Now I'm sure it hasn't aged well like most anime from that period, but you know what anime has aged well from that period is Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, buddy.
Still top notch, man. Still top notch. Voice acting still pretty good. It's exactly how you remember it with Kuwabara's like raspy voice, and I mean I love Yu Yu Hakusho. I actually think tit for tat it's better than Dragon Ball.
Okay.
And also pretty much any long running anime. I think like long running shonen anime. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is probably
Yeah.
the best.
Who's your favorite character?
Um,
Who's your favorite Yu Yu Hakusho character?
I like. I haven't seen it forever. The demon dude, the small demon dude.
Oh,
What's
Hiei.
his name? Hiei. Yes, Hiei. And you know what I liked about Hiei and Kurama?
Mm.
It's Kurama, right?
Yeah.
Is that they both had like these
Alter
ulterior
egos. Yeah.
forms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one episode, dude, where that dude de-ages Kurama and then does it too far and he turns him into his demon form. That episode is so hype, man. Like that is insane. And you're like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
Kurama's my favorite character.
Yeah, Kurama's awesome. Because you kind of feel like he's lame at first, right? He's like this guy. He's kind of dainty with his whip, and you're kind
Yeah.
of like, all right, whatever. But then like once you learn more about his character, you're like, oh man, this guy
Yeah.
is serious.
Yeah, he was a fucking killer. And then
Yeah.
there's the episode where he gets like Elder Toguro in that tree trap, and that's how he wins that fight. Where he thinks he's always every time he thinks he's killing somebody, it causes him pain, and it's like it won't
Hmm.
kill him though because his body doesn't allow him to die, so he's like permanently trapped. I'm like, that is a fucking great, just fucking next level setup. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I love Yu Yu Hakusho. Great fucking
Yeah.
show.
Absolutely. And that is one of them that like I'm just fortunate enough to have. I got him for Christmas one year, the whole complete
Yeah.
DVD set of
Are you
Yu
gonna
Yu
run? Are you
Hakusho.
gonna run Caitlin through those? Or have you done that already?
We started Yu Yu Hakusho, and we just never went back and finished it. I want to watch them again at some
Yeah.
point, but
This is why. See, this is why I wish we, our current circumstances where we don't really live all that close, like hurts because that could be a weekend, buddy.
Dude, I'm down, man.
Yeah,
We got to get you over here and just start slamming Yu Yu Hakusho.
I'm in for that. So that's a good conversation on anime there. That's a nice stroll down memory lane. So now getting into some of the meat and potatoes of the show. Um, have you seen the stuff with Rocksteady? So
I saw that they delayed Suicide Squad based on terrible feedback, and
yeah, like what are they gonna do? Like what are they possibly gonna do? Like,
I mean they're gonna. This is the thing with video games, right? Is that like everyone's chasing the latest trend, even if it doesn't work. We saw this with MMOs a decade ago. Everyone and their mom wanted to release an MMO. I mean, think about all like the crazy failed MMOs, the DC Universe Online, and WildStar, and there was MMOs being released every other day. City of Heroes, and they a lot of them had dedicated fan bases that people liked, but a lot of them came out and like a fart in the wind just disappeared.
that's
Um,
wild.
or they had to go free to play in order to sustain any sort of transactions.
You know what's weird? So who are they targeting? Because I feel like these games with the service built in, like they get such negative responses. So is it just our echo chamber that like hates it, or like do the
No,
majority of gamers like? But they keep making them, so they have to be profitable. They have to be so profitable that they don't care about what the negative feedback is. But then we're seeing a situation like this where they're like, "Oh fuck."
well, so I think the thing is like video games. I think people got to realize are still so young, and this is still such a young business. And when me and you were growing up, we were still used to video games being run by people who wanted to make video games. And they were pretty much hands off. Like their investors were like, all right, well, we don't really understand this, but just make us some money, right? So you got like a really cool passion projects, and you got turds too. Of course you did. But then video games started exploding and exploding and exploding and becoming the number one media form. And now you got people in the suit suites who know nothing about this. All they know is that they're, business majors and marketing experts or whatever. So they see something to live service game like Fortnite or, Destiny, and they're just making money hand over fist. And they're like, well, let's try to get a piece of that pie. Why not? Right. So that's what they're trying to do. And they don't know the industry. They don't know the communities, and they don't understand that by doing this they are dumping money down the drain, because people that play Fortnite, they want to play Fortnite. They're not going to leave Fortnite to go to Avengers, or they're not going to leave Fortnite to go to Suicide Squad. And they don't realize that. Like I said, it's the same thing that happened with MMOs. It's the same thing that happened with Anthem. Um, and unfortunately, it's the same thing that's gonna happen with Suicide Squad, dude. Suicide Squad does not look good, and the live service aspect isn't the only thing people are upset about. It's the fact that it looks pretty bland as far as like gameplay goes, and everything's purple that you're firing against. And I don't know. I watched highlights of that trailer that they released that everyone's mad about, and I was
Yeah,
like, all right, I'm good. I know exactly like what we're playing here. Um, so I don't know what Rocksteady does. I think they go down, they make some sort of watered down Avengers type of game and release it, and it's gonna sell well because it's a Suicide Squad game, but it's um it's probably not going to do as well as they would hope. It's definitely not going to get the live service numbers they would
I
hope.
gotcha. Is that Chrono joining us today? Who's our fine furred friend here? Is that Chrono? Is that our boy? Is that our
You know
beautiful
what?
baby boy?
Yeah, this is Chrono the cat, Pedro's best friend.
Yeah, he used to steal my hair ties and hide them around the house for sport.
It's his
Robert
favorite
loves
toy.
Chrono. Like they have a great relationship. Oh, Chrono. Hi, how you doing, buddy? Look at him. Look what a stud he is. So, I'm disappointed because Rocksteady had been dormant for so long. Like they were basically dark. We weren't talking about anything, and this is what you came up with. And that's the part that stings. Like, so, like, was that really their direction, or was that a directive they got from investors? Like, yo, this needs to be a live service game, because like, I don't know. I don't see how they thought that was going to go well when literally all the response to anything live service is like, yeah, fuck this, dude. And so many of these games are coming out and just falling flat on their fucking faces. If you look at Anthem, or even the game, like, what was the game Gearbox did? Battleborn, right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, that game flopped. Babylon's Fall was a turd.
Oh yeah, Babylon's Fall.
Marvel's Avengers flopped. Like, so many of these games are just coming out and flopping so fucking hard that I don't know where the direction shift, but I think you're going to start definitely seeing a paradigm shift where, like, companies aren't going to release stuff like this. So I'm nervous for Sony, because, like, I feel like they were focusing on live service like a lot, and we're going to see a couple of clunkers come out from them.
That's the rumor. I'll tell you who you should really be worried about though is Square Enix.
Mm.
Something weird is going on at that company, man, and I don't think we're gonna like the way it turns out.
Do we ever like
Um,
the way it ever turns out? I feel like every
I feel as though something disastrous might be happening at Square Enix with mismanagement of funds or something.
they got a new
And
president, right?
they got a new president
Mr.
who
NFT.
is doubling down on NFTs.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking
Doubling
moron.
down. The old guy was the guy that was really pushing it. Um, this new guy, everyone was like, "All right, let's go." Double down on NFTs, and it's like, do you guys not understand that this trend died last year?
Yeah, we
Like,
hate NFTs.
what is going on here? They died last year. We ran NFTs out of gaming, and everyone cheered about it. Like, people are not into this, and Square Enix is going forward and releasing that Symbiosis game, Symbiogenesis or whatever it is.
Nope.
Um, and it's gonna flop. And they just recently said that, like, the smaller games they released last year they didn't perform up to expectations. And
They do this routinely. Like, what are their
I don't
expectations? Like,
I don't know. Um, I don't know.
we'll see. Because that leads me into our next thing. I mean, do you have any more opinions on Rocksteady? Like, I just thought it was kind of funny. We talked about, like, last episode, are they back? And then literally 2 weeks later, no, they're
Nope.
not back.
The thing with Rocksteady is just like, first off, making a Suicide Squad game was not the correct move. They should have been the ones making Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
It all lined up that Gotham Knights should have taken place in the Arkhamverse after Arkham Knight. And I don't understand what was going on.
I heard Gotham Knights sucks too.
It does, yeah, but I mean, if Rocksteady was making it, would it have been different? Probably. I can see that. Is it also supposed to be a live service game? Clearly, that was clearly the what was happening, and then they pulled the plug. So I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Yeah, it just sucks because, like, Rocksteady was always on my top tier of developers because of what they did with the series. And now to see them kind of in the BioWare territory, where, like, yeah, like, you guys are fucking idiots. So you hate seeing. I feel like every company's gonna have its run, and then a downfall. I just feel like that's the way of the industry. So moving on, have you seen what's going on with Final Fantasy 16 now that we talk about Square a little bit?
Are you talking about, like, the negative reactions to the
Yeah,
trailer?
why are people reacting negatively? Like, what's going on?
People just you have a series in Final Fantasy that has no identity anymore, right? Um, the only thing that makes sense about Final Fantasy anymore is that it's a JRPG. It's a Japanese role playing game, but
I
it's
can't
but
say
it's
that.
also, yeah, I know. Like, apparently, they used to take offense to that, which I understand why when I saw more examples. But it doesn't have an identity, and you have people that all grew up with different eras of Final Fantasy. I would consider three of them now:
Yeah,
1 through 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the modern ones.
right.
And these people see this game come out, and it is the most departed from the series even more. I would say the 15 was the most departed, but this
Yeah.
one seems like it's based. It's sort of like a Devil May Cry type game, right? Now I haven't watched the trailer because I know I'm already in. I don't want to be spoiled, and Square Enix famously spoils all the stuff in their games and their trailers. But I saw the people's reactions to it and being like, "This looks like a solid action game, but where's my Final Fantasy?" And it's like, well, this is your Final Fantasy now.
Yeah.
Like, and the classic stuff that you have, you can get with Bravely Default from the
Right.
same company. You can get it with Tokyo RPG Factory, managed by the same company. And like those games are still around, those genres are still around, but Final Fantasy has always been on the cutting edge of like moving forward with the JRPG. It's really the trendsetter for the JRPG. And like we've talked about before, what's crazy is I consider 16 the first real mainline Final Fantasy game that's come out since I've been an adult. And that's wild, right?
Yeah.
Because 15 I still consider like a complete mess and a spin-off of Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's wild.
I didn't watch the trailer either. I saw I saw a little bit of the gameplay trailer. I just kind of wanted to see how it ran, and I saw enough, and I was out. Um, but like it's like you can't you can't expect different. Like you just said, the turn based people, you needed to accept that this was coming fucking decades ago. To be honest with you, like this was
Right.
like come on. But you have those games readily available to you. So if you're a Final Fantasy Tactics guy, you have Triangle Strategy, and
Right.
they're re-releasing Tactics Ogre, and I wouldn't be shocked if Final Fantasy Tactics gets a re-release at some point. If you're a
Right.
turn-based guy, you have Bravely Default, Live Alive, you have or Live Alive or what the hell it's called. You have Octopath. Like you have so many things to choose from. Like I don't ever want to hear you complain anymore. Stop complaining. You even have Dragon Quest. Like stop. Enough.
Right.
But to answer your question, where's the Final Fantasy or where's my Final Fantasy that people are asking? It's there. Like I think this game is in the hands of such fans of the series, and I think Yoshi
Mhm.
P has like a lot of respect for the series, so he's gonna do us right. He's gonna do well by us, and like so. I like where Final Fantasy is heading. I'm really excited for it, and we've talked about this. We're both really excited for the game. We're both probably day one purchases. I'm taking the day off
Oh,
work
absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
fucking rub this game all over my body. And so it's just how do we in 2023 still just hate everything? I feel like just fans, especially Final Fantasy fans, like I understand like you love the franchise. It's a historic franchise. We get all that. But your refusal to just get it in your hands first before we start snapping the fuck out. Because now I just feel like it leads companies to not really want to take risks. Because think about it, had Square advertised that what they were going to do at Final Fantasy VII Remake, that they were going to change some shit, could you imagine the backlash? Could you imagine?
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. I muted. I unmuted my mic instead of clicking the button.
There you go.
It would have been brutal. And it was brutal if you remember. What people wanted and really meant when they were doing the remake was they wanted them to just change the graphics in Final Fantasy VII. But what they actually did was they
That was
went way more
ballsy.
in
That
depth
was ballsy.
and they expanded upon the most notable part of the game, and they did a wonderful job. Final Fantasy VII Remake is fantastic. And I think Final Fantasy 16 is gonna be fantastic too, but this also kind of ties into the Kiseki drama that I wanted to bring up later, but and it'll tie in really nicely. But I really just think that like you just gotta disconnect, and these companies have to learn that a couple hundred people complaining about your game on Twitter when it's gonna sell millions, like you really have to. Twitter's a very bad gauge of people's general opinion because it prioritizes hate clicks and engagement with arguments, and it's a very very bad metric for reactions. I think Final Fantasy 16 is going to be very well received. I think it's going to be a fantastic game, and I'm really excited for it. Everything I've seen so far since I went or before I went media blackout has been insane, and it looks really really good. So That's really all I gotta say about it. It's just I think people just feed on being negative.
So, how do you feel about the whole thing where they don't want it to be called a JRPG anymore?
Um, that's just a disconnect between the Western media that covers video games and the Japanese game developers. I think so. When you have these major companies in the West that really are pushing the game development um, industry, and you have the brand leader at Xbox calling JRPG, like saying JRPGs suck or Japanese games suck, um, and you have fucking Adam Sessler making fun of Japanese RPGs on G4, and like I can see where they were coming from. Now, I think Colin also said on the one Sacred Symbols, like also in the PS3 era, a lot of JRPGs were terrible, you know.
Yeah,
So I can see both sides of the story, but at the same time, it's like this is just a massive translation issue. I think the fans of JRPGs, like we talked about last week, have always been here. We've always wanted very good, decent JRPGs. Um, Games like Pierre Solar got funded in an era where we had no JRPGs to play,
right.
and that was the reason. Um, and that's I think in back in the early days of YouTube, like we had talked about earlier, game collecting as a hobby really took off because of these older JRPGs because people weren't interested in like the PS2, PS3 era JRPGs. There wasn't many of them, and people weren't really interested. They wanted to go back and play things like Xenogears or Vagrant Story and stuff like that. So they tend to be behind the general opinion, I think, by about 5 years at least, at Square anyway. And I think that's where we're at now, where they're just like, okay, well, that was they still view that as like a derogatory term, and they want to be on in the same table as the big boys without realizing that they are the big boys in the genre.
Yeah, so I gotta dig more into that like whole comment, but I agree. JRPGs have certain tropes and certain, I guess, prerequisites that get them lumped into that JRPG category. But
Right.
I don't know. To me, they're all just RPGs. Like I don't really, I get it. Like to me, a JRPG just so happens to be made by a Japanese company, but I feel like Western RPGs could easily do the same shit.
Yeah,
So
and they do now. They do.
yeah.
So
So now you were saying there was some Kiseki drama here.
yeah, this frustrates me, and I told you a little bit about this the other day, but
Uh,
there is a massive amount of Trails fans that are going online and they are spoiling everything about Trails into Reverie and Kuro no Kiseki, which isn't even have a release date in the West. These games are really basing themselves on like twists and turns in the overall story. They're spoiling it because they're mad that NIS took down the fan translations, and that's the only reason. Also, they're mad that NIS isn't translating Kuro anytime soon. Like they're not focusing on it next year.
mm,
Instead, they're focusing on Ease 10, and it's like I don't understand because you're ruining your own fandom. You know, the people that are looking at these comments, the people that are looking at these trailers and whatnot, the YouTube comments, they're your own. It's the own fandom. You're not hurting NIS. You're not hurting this massive company. So these people are just miserable little cunts, and there's massive arguments breaking out all over the fandom. And my point of this was, like I said earlier, I think the fandom in Trails is very largely separated into people's opinions on which uh, part of the story they played first and which one they like most, and it's a very segmented audience, and they argue constantly. When you go on like the Falcom boards or anything, they're always like talking shit on the other arcs, and It's crazy because when I first jumped into this fandom or to do these games, I had heard nothing bad about them from anyone. Just how amazing they all were, right? And they have to play all of them. They're all great. And now I go and it's like people are just shit talking Azure and how Cold Steel sucks. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Um, People saying that you just skip the Trails in the Sky the third, and other people saying it's necessary. And it's like, well, I'm just gonna play all of them because it seems like everyone's got their own opinion, and whatever. A lot of people think Trails of Cold Steel 4 is terrible, but I certainly didn't think that.
Yeah, I would.
And I just think it's one of those cases where the fandom just kind of sucks, and I'm
Yeah,
happy to be on the outside of it.
yeah. So that's a lot to unpack there. So the people who are mad about the translations being taken down, I'm assuming they're mad about the Kuro one being taken down or something, right? Like it can't
Yeah,
be.
Kuro and Reverie. Yeah,
Okay. Well, those games they're coming out in the States at some point. Like I understand, like if a company sees that their game is like literally translated being given away for free, basically by just buying the original Japanese port, then they're not going to make any money, and then we're not going to get any other stuff. Like
right.
there was a translation for Trails into the Crossbell series and all that for years, but here it is. I'm holding it in my fucking hand, and the people who did the translation were happy to take it down because hey, they're literally working with us or using our translation to put in this game. Like, so what do you like? What do you want them to do? And I think that ties into a lot of gamers still being young and not thinking with their brains. Like, but to sit there and to go on an internet platform and spoil Trails games for people that like I don't even feel like we need to sit there and like excuse me say how fucked up it is. Like I think people know generally where we stand on that. Like we are not a show that supports people ruining things for other people.
Right.
Like we don't support that, never will. I don't know of any show who would. I feel like that's a you're never gonna hear a show be like, oh yeah, no, spoil the shit out of that. Fuck this. Like you're never gonna hear that. But like to sit there to take the time to get on this stupid thing and go ruin something for somebody that may be really passionate about it and it really look forward to it, like that sucks. And why is there every medium, every hobby, there is all this toxic gatekeeping bullshit that goes on? Like, who
I
cares?
don't know.
So, grand scheme of things, who cares if we happen to like the Arabonia arc because that's this one we're familiar with more than the Liberal arc because we at a point felt those games were a little inaccessible. Like, how we're not wrong for that opinion. Like, we can have it, but like that doesn't mean like we need to get flamed online for it.
Right. Right. And the crazy thing is that I just realized, I mean, I just remembered today that like this is the first time Azure's been available in the United States.
Right.
It's only been fan translations until now. So like this is I see how this happens because this is a fandom that has survived and thrived. Very small, tight knit group probably that has gotten these games through based on fan translations. And now all of a sudden NIS takes it over and they're like, we're axing all the fan translations. You can't get them anymore. We're taking them down. And here's our translations. And you know what, man? Like the thing is that the NIS translations are pretty good.
Yeah, they're fine.
Um, and they're not like censoring things. They're not really changing much. I looked into this and it's like, no, like this is a good multi-million dollar backed company that can do these things way faster than fan
Yeah.
translations. And I have the Reverie fan translation. I started it. I played like an hour of it. It's not that great. You can get through it, but it's not that great. Like it's very clearly
A rough translation.
it has issues.
Yeah.
And I have the Kuro translation too, downloaded on my computer, but I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
The reason I still have it even is because you can't get it anymore, and I want to get rid of it.
Right. So, and to clear up something, like as a gamer, I'm a big fan of fan translations. I always, anytime a new fan translation comes out of like older RPGs, so famously, or just games, not specifically RPGs, but famously, for me, Police Knots was a game
Mm-hmm.
that I really wanted to play, and then finally, a fan translation came out for the Saturn version of the game, which is like the best version. And I jumped all over that. I bought English translations of Shining Force 3, the third scenario. I bought English translations of Sakura Wars, Lunar on the Saturn. I bought the English translation for. They finally ported all that. So like, anytime like there's a fan funded anything, like I'm in. Like your boy's in, but I will never be in at the expense of like me getting another game in a franchise because like, oh shit, all our potential fans like basically got this for free. Like I'm not with that. So like I'm not willing to sacrifice. Like I'm not going to play Kuro now with a debatable quality translation and risk not getting more Trails games in the future. Like that's not, I don't want that. And then the second thing, East 10 is a big game for them. Like East is their bread and butter. Like they're like
Right.
Falcom is built on East.
Right.
And so like of course they're going to focus on getting East 10 out and making sure that runs well because like the East games I know and maybe in our own echo chambers like the East games have taken like a back seat to Kiseki, but traditionally East games have always sold well in the West. So I think East 8 was really good. East 9, I don't know how it sold, but I thought it was received really well. I need to play it, but
Yeah, I
I'm
still
gonna
haven't played it either.
I'm gonna buy East 10. So it's like one of those things like those are games you're gonna buy. So I don't understand why you're getting upset. Just be happy you're getting it. Be happy you're getting
Right.
it.
Be happy that the series is finally giving a lifeline after 15 years of just being in limbo. Right.
Yeah. Like enjoy this. Like
I
enjoy
don't
it.
know.
I hate toxic fans anymore, man. And I think that's just as we get older. Like
Yep.
because I'm sure at some point we were toxic at one point, but uh it's just like why ruin other things? I first off, I've never posted a spoiler in my life of anything.
Right. Me either.
Here, I'll spoil something. You don't get to save Princess Peach until you beat the first Mario game at the end. Your princess will always be in another castle. That's a big spoiler here. But I've never spoiled anything for anybody else like that. I just think that's fucking trash. You're a
I
trash
agree.
human.
I agree. And if any one of you out there spoil Kuro for me, we're trading hands. That's all there's to it.
Yeah, we'll
Watch
come
your
find
back.
you. All right.
Trading
Now
hands.
now it is time to get to the most wonderful time of the show, our favorite portion of the show. We're looking at our misconduct list. So
Misconduct.
number one will always and forever be Mr. Robert Sweeley, just giant misconduct. But he sent me a Snapchat the other day. He was playing Kingdom Hearts again.
Yep, I did. He told me about that. He's back.
So maybe our boy's healing slowly.
Maybe.
Maybe he's like sore. He was in the little chamber for just sleeping. So Robert Sweeley, number one on the misconduct list, just for existing. Follow up on our AMC drama. Well, I wouldn't say drama, but just my gripe with AMC. um, the AMC's down here are charging like you got to book your seat in advance, which to my chagrin, people have said they love that. They love being able to just book the seat they want in advance, which excuse me, throat problem here. But I can see how that's convenient, but for me, who wanted to watch Creed 3 on a Tuesday night, which who goes to the movie on nobody really goes to movies on Tuesdays. It's not really a big day.
Mm-hmm.
I went to go look at 3 showings and all of them had all the seats that I would have wanted gone. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go. So like I just feel like that just ruins the experience for me where like part of my enjoyment of movie going was walking in, getting my ticket, walking into the theater, and picking whatever fucking seat I wanted. And maybe that's just because living in central Pennsylvania so long, like you just kind of nobody really did anything, or I don't really know why that happened. But down here near in the Philly suburbs, like when do I go buy my ticket? Like I'm like I don't like do I got to go on at 7 o'clock in the morning and like look at what days I'm like it's a pain in the balls. Like who wants to do that?
Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking. Like we talked about this last week. I don't know
Yeah.
what they were thinking in introducing this. This is insane to me.
But the people like it. There are people who like it. So I'm gonna go and because I posted about this on Facebook. Like sometimes I go on these little Facebook rants about things that drive me up a fucking wall. And so we have a couple terrorists that I'm apparently friends with that really like this. So Matthew Reeder, this has been around for like a decade. And I respond, I'm just experiencing now. He's like, He's like, just put. He responds, just book tickets early. It's amazing. Always get the seat you want. Take your blanket, recline, and enjoy. AMC is top tier. And then Michelle Carrasquillo, no relation, fun fact.
That's weird.
Yeah, right. Says, yeah, I was gonna say I did this like 6 years ago, and it's been great. Timothy Regal, Mr. Mead Man over here. Fun, shout out to him, but also go fuck yourself. Yeah, man, if this is the superior way. I get my prime seats and never get stuck in a corner or have to split it up because the theater is full. So we have a couple people, amongst us who subscribe to this fucking nonsense. But yeah,
Well, they're
can't
right.
do it.
It's been around, but it wasn't required,
Yeah,
right? Like it wasn't like this. So no, they're wrong. This is new.
yeah,
Yeah, sure, you could pick your seats, but you weren't like guaranteed you're even going to get it before. So
right.
I don't know. This is
But
they're not correct about that.
just to know that there's fucking psychos out there. All right, you never
Yeah.
know you never know who your real friends are. All right.
Also, it's time to pull a plug on movie theaters. I think I'm just done with them.
I this might lead me to being done because that like literally ruined my experience. Like I'm not gonna pay. I'm not gonna pay. The ticket price, whatever. But I'm not gonna pay also for get a drink and or a drink and a snack. Like you're not gonna get $50 out of me if I don't like if I feel like pressured or like, oh fuck, I'm late. Better take a neck breaker seat where I'm at the fucking front of the theater. Like fuck that,
Right.
dude. All right. So last GameStop, who I don't know if they've made the list yet, but I'm shocked they haven't.
I have
Uh,
no idea.
so have you noticed? Well, I know a lot of the GameStops around you are shut down, ironically
Yeah.
enough, but they keep real weird hours now.
No, I did not know this.
So the GameStop, I'm gonna pull it up on my phone here. The GameStops in this area. So I don't know if it's just this area specifically, but it's something that drives me up a fucking wall. So the GameStop near me, their hours are, and I could preface this that I could be wrong about them. Like, so the GameStop in Springfield Mall is usually open till about 8 or 9 p.m., which I feel like standard, right? There's GameStops that close at 7.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the hours here. The GameStop in Lewisburg closes at 7 almost every
Like,
night except for Friday.
what the fuck is that?
Well, they've definitely cut hours back because the GameStop in Lewisburg here, it opens at noon. They used to open at like 9 or 10
It
and
was
be
always,
open
yeah,
until
it was like
like
10.
I think I think they were open until 9
Yeah, they
then.
closed at 9. Yeah.
Um, this is just GameStop cutting hours down because they've always been like tight on hours. They don't want to pay people.
Yeah, but
But this
this,
is what I believe is 12 to 7 and 12 to 9 are shifts that can be accomplished by one person.
yeah. And like, it's inconvenient because I usually work till 4:30. By the time I get off to get to where I'm staying at, it's like 5. And then you eat, go to the gym. It's like 6:30. So by the time you get done doing everything like you have to do or like you want it like that's important. Like cool, I'm out. Let me go check out GameStop on the way home. Closed. Like so I
Those hours are a little too restrictive for people that actually have jobs.
yeah. So like when am I supposed to like? I guess I go on the weekend, but like it's kind of annoying. Where like, what if I get
Mhm.
off work and got a bunch of shit to do, and then while I'm out, I want to go pick up my pre-order. Oh fuck! Now GameStop's closed. I gotta wait till tomorrow. Or I just don't like the the inconvenience of it. It's like really inconvenient for like people who like. I feel like they're hurting sales doing that.
Mhm.
So or like
No,
say if you're out to dinner and then we got done. There's a GameStop in this plaza. Let's go closed. Like,
yeah. No, I 100% agree. And like you said, the GameStops all around me pretty much closed down. There's one in the
State
the
College.
city, no, the Williamsport, but
Uh,
it's the worst GameStop I've ever been to in my life. It's got nothing.
are you talking about the
Um,
Montoursville one?
yeah, it's got absolutely nothing. I'm not sure why they closed down the bigger one to keep that one
Yeah.
running when it's listen, man, it's over. GameStop's over. It's done, and they're
Yeah.
they're hanging on by a thread, and they're doing their best to try and like shift into like the realm of like collectibles and stuff. But um, it's done. 90% of like game sales are done digitally now.
Uh-huh.
For the modern games, people aren't trading in games, and
Nope.
that's how GameStop was making their most of their money was used game sales. and just gouging the shit out of those prices. And they're a company that treats their employees like trash, and no one wants to work for them because of that. And they made all the wrong moves. So I don't know. I would rather wait for a game on Amazon or just buy it digitally than buy a brand new game at GameStop. The only time I ever go to GameStop anymore is to just walk in there and see what kind of collectibles they have.
Yeah. See, my relationship with GameStop isn't as adversarial as yours. Obviously, you have definitely experience working there and what how they jammed my boy up here. Uh, your famous viral video there, but
Yeah.
it sucks because like I always liked going to GameStop. Just I was a big one who like sometimes just going to shoot the shit. Like that's kind of what
Right.
we did. Like the Lock Haven GameStop we went to a lot of times just to kind of hang out and fucking
Yeah, absolutely.
browse and. But now like it's just inconvenient because, like I said, I don't really pre-order stuff anymore. But I I don't know. I'm hit or miss on it. It's fairly rare for me to pre-order something. If I do, I usually do it on Amazon. Uh, but the fact is, like, you can't even go and browse. Like, you can't even go and like just kind of see what's up at a convenient time. So, look out there, guys. These GameStops probably aren't going to be around much longer. I give them 5 years and they're gone.
Yeah, I
So,
would agree. I would agree with that.
all right. So, moving on to the free shit portion of the show. So, on the Epic Game Store, we have Chain Monsters, The Sims 4, Aim Labs, and Light in the Darkness. On Amazon Game Store, we have Adios, I Am Fish, and Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. So I was telling you before we started the show, this is probably more than likely going to be the last time we kind of cover this shit because they're just putting whatever there. I have no idea what these games are. I'm not going to take the time and like watch trailers or play them. And I just feel like I'm just reading names off a list that I have no input in.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so that don't be shocked if that gets the axe out of the next episode because we may start announcing what comes to Game Pass and shit like that maybe, but I just feel like it's kind of a waste of time.
Right.
So unless you have some riveting thoughts on those games I listed,
Um, Baldur's Gate's a legendary game, but it hasn't
I,
aged well at all.
yeah, I heard the
So,
port's fucked up actually.
oh, never mind then.
Well, think of like the last show they were fucking giving out Morrowind. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what are we doing here? Like, whose PC is running that? Whose PC is running Morrowind right now?
I have no idea.
Like, what? So, you know, we're at the tail end of the show, and I realize we definitely didn't talk about something. So, if you want to get into this real quick, Starfield delayed. Thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts on Starfield being delayed. Honestly, I'm not excited for Starfield. I will play it just because it's a Bethesda game, and I despite all their flaws like Bethesda, I do feel like Starfield's going to be a crap game though. I don't think it's going to be very good, and I think that's going to hurt Microsoft greatly. But I'd rather have them delay it. I mean, the less bugs that these games have, the better. I think, and I'm just if if they need to delay it another year, delay it another year. Whatever. Just do your best.
So, I will just say this: Microsoft, where are your games? Where are your
No
games?
idea. Where
And
is Avowed? Where is Fable? Like, what's going
this
on?
is what makes it a problem because any other console like PS5, let's say something gets delayed, like no one's gonna care because like there's other exclusives to check out right now. Like they have a nice
Right.
big fat juicy library. Nintendo, if they delay a game, there's so much shit that goes to Switch that's first party that you probably haven't played or you can play, and there's so many things coming to that platform exclusively even that you have so many options. Xbox, besides the Game Pass, like options are really limited. Besides, like for
Yeah.
an exclusive, like so, like where are the games? Where are the
I
games?
agree. Something's going on with them, and we're gonna find out eventually, I guess. But
Yeah, so I don't know. Where are
I'm
the
I'm
games?
on I'm tired of waiting for Avowed. I've been waiting for Avowed for years now, and
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten almost no information for it. So,
Yeah, like where are the
whatever.
games? And I know, like we talk, like games like Pentiment and As Dusk Falls come out, like these little tiny little snacks come out, Plague Tale, but where are the games? That's all I'm gonna say. So do you have anything else you wanted to touch on before we put this puppy to bed?
No, not really. It's been a good episode. I've had a
Been a
blast.
yeah, it's. I think we ran probably 2 hours at least.
Yeah,
So, all right. Well, it's been a great show. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Or fun fact: smash the like button.
smash,
Look, smash the like
smash.
button. Uh, check us out on Facebook. Find us on Instagram. We're at alphanards_prime. Check us out on Podbean and any podcast streaming service. We got that rectified, thank God. We have a Twitch channel. Seth, what is the name of the Twitch channel?
Alpha Nerds Prime, I believe.
Alpha Nerds Prime. He sounded 100% confident in that. So check us out there. Give us some feedback. We definitely have gotten a little lazy on the content lately. We actually just talked about finding more ways to get content. We had guests lined up. They're still lined up. We just had life happen. He bought a house. I recently went through a relationship ending, so we're trying to get everything rectified here and slowly get the ship steadied. We'll get there, but bear with us. But as we said, we here at the Alpha Nerds believe in producing good content. We like to have fun, so as long as it remains fun for us, we'll continue to provide content to you. So with that being said, check us out. We are often replicated but never duplicated. We are the originals. We are the number one. We are the OGs.
That's right.
And remember, boys, when in doubt, square up, throw down.
Square up, throw down. Love it.